Here it was the Giants by 13 points over Hawthorn here at Giants Stadium.
Hi, I'm Marta Dusseldorp, here to tell you about my new dark comedy, Bay of Fires. About moving to a new town.
We have to get you out right now.
We're going away for a while. A surprise holiday.
A tiny place that's not what it seems.
We have a visitor in town.
From the creator of Jack Irish.
Just so it doesn't feel like a holiday.
Award-winning Marta Dusseldorp in Bay of Fires. Starts Sunday, July 16 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
ABC Sport.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 AFL Premiership season.
Marks out to the right, steps on goal, superb finish. Turns, whacks it straight through the middle. Pulls the trigger on goal, and goes bang! 'Cause here it comes, here it comes.
AFL. On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know. Fourth spot on the AFL ladder is up for grabs tonight as St Kilda hosts Melbourne under the roof of Docklands as round 17 of the AFL continues on ABC Sport. Both sides have had their issues in recent weeks, struggling to kick a winning score. Melbourne have kicked over 8 goals in their last 5 matches, having lost 4 of their last 6, and tonight they'll have to do so without their leading goal scorer, Bailey Fritsch. They do get to celebrate debutant Taj Woden, son of 2000 Brownlow medalist Shane, and also Christian Salem celebrates his 150th game. While the Saints have only won 2 of their past 5 matches, including an 8-point win against the struggling Eagles in the West, they do, of course, celebrate their captain, Jack Steele, in his 150th match. Great to have your company on Saturday night footy. There's no late changes for either side, so Ryan Burns is the sub for the Saints and Joel Smith for the Demons. Ben Cameron to call the action alongside me, Matt Clinch. Welcome to you, Benny.
Thanks, Clinchy. Great to be here, and incredible to think that St Kilda could be in the 4 if they win tonight. We know Melbourne are currently 4th, both of these teams 9 and 6 on the season. We haven't seen the best of the D's in the last few weeks. Clearly their issues are a mid-forward connection and kicking a score. They haven't kicked more than 8 goals in their last 5 games. So that's what I'm looking to see from the D's tonight. Can they get that right against a pretty good defensive side in St Kilda?
No Jack Higgins, who's kicked 27 goals this season for the Saints. No Bailey Fritsch, who's kicked 29 goals for the Demons. I hope that doesn't mean we won't see any scoring. That's the concern for two sides who certainly value the defensive side of the game. Luke Baller's here, Collingwood Premiership player. Welcome to you, Baller.
Clinchy, yeah, fascinating contest. A tough one to pick. On paper, you're right. It reads like a 7 goal to 8 goal sort of game. I hope that both teams find a way to release the shackles a bit tonight. I think they both have recognised that they need to play with a bit more flair. I mean, that's a staggering stat that a team that many, fancied, certainly a month ago, to be there, when the whips are cracking and a premiership favourite, to have not kicked 8 goals. Yeah, Alice Springs last week, Geelong the week. Okay, we understand that, but they need to fix that quick, and they have to do without their leading goal kicker as well. So, and the Saints last week, well, it took a massive scare against the Eagles to spark them into some sort of offensive ball movement and speed and risk-taking with that. So hopefully we see that from the start of the game tonight.
Alongside Bally is the AFL Games record holder, but this weekend he'll be known as Cooper's dad, who makes his debut for the Kangaroos tomorrow against Geelong. Brent Harvey, welcome to you.
Welcome, boys. Good evening. That actually sits pretty well with me, Cooper's dad. I can run with that all you want. Interesting for me, Bally. I haven't seen the best of Melbourne for 4 or 5 weeks now, and that's since Clayton Oliver's been out. We're just speaking off air, just really briefly then. When an absolute gun of your team goes out, you think everyone needs to step up 3, 4, 5%. They're just too hard to cover, those guys. And Oliver wins the inside ball, but he spreads so well. Viney can feed him. Petrarca works off him.
Brayshaw goes back.
So
it's a flow-on effect.
It is a flow-on effect. And the Saints, they're the only team in the competition I don't think I've worked out right now. Win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for the last 10 weeks, it feels like. So it's going to be interesting with a couple of key personnel out. So really looking forward to the game, and like you boys, hope it's not a 7-8 game, and then we see some goals kicked tonight.
Now we've set up the monitor for the cricket as well. It's available via the ABC Listen app, but there is rain in Leeds. So Australia leading by 142 runs at 4 for 116. We'll give you a cheerio if play gets underway anytime soon. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand tonight is Lauren Borden. Welcome to you, Loz.
Thanks, Clinchy. Nice to be in the front row tonight. Pretty chilly, even though we're under the roof here at Docklands, sitting at about 10 degrees or so. The Melbourne banner by the cheer squad read a rin tonight. We're back on track, aim for the top, never look back. So the cheer squad, the coach this week, week. No one's really shying away from those losses, and poor goal kicking throughout the week. A couple of first-time subs for this year in Ryan Burns. He has been subbed off 2 times this year, though, and Joel Smith as well for Melbourne. They're literally running towards the bench now, ready to sit down with Christian Salem winning the toss in his 150th game, and Melbourne kicking to the Lockett end of the ground.
Thanks, Loz. Looking forward to your contributions throughout the night. Both sides at 9 and 6. Who are you tipping tonight, Boomer and Bally?
Oh, genuine toss of the coin. I think I'm going to go with the Saints. I just can't see Melbourne kicking a winning score. They're only, again, on paper, if it's 8 goals to 7, maybe, but I'm going to go with the Saints just, Boomer.
It's a worry, isn't it? I'm going to go against you, Bally. I'll go with the Demons.
On the D's, Benny.
I'll take the Saints.
4 spot on the line at St Kilda in Melbourne on Grandstand AFL. Here's Ben Cameron.
Top 4 tussle. Gawn wins the opening tap straight down towards Brayshaw. Straight after it, Steele in game 150. He's wrapped up. And a secondary ball up in the middle.
Gawn takes the first centre bounce. Grundy on the bench. Petrarca starts forward for the Demons.
Gawn and Marshall again. Gawn hooks it down. It bounces back to Marshall. Gives it back to Wanganeen Malira. He kicks towards half forward. May can't mark. Butler picks it up. He's tackled quickly by Petty. And it's held into him. We'll get a ball up close to the attacking edge of the centre square in the middle.
Sorry, Benny. Max King's coming straight for the... I hope that's not his shoulder.
Oh. So keep an eye on that as Jack Steele in his 150th game gets the hand pass to Ruttman, Rowan Marshall inside 50, and Stephen May was well set. He takes the mark 35 metres out from his defensive goal. Out to Lever at right half back. Warren Borden, Max King is coming right towards you. What are you seeing?
He's walking down here with 2 physios. He's holding on to his hand a little bit, his hand and his wrist, so it doesn't look like his shoulder at the moment, but he's going straight down to the rooms to have it assessed.
Can't afford to lose another forward as Petty sends it up towards half-back for the Demons, where the mark is taken by Sparrow. Ben Brown, the forgotten forward for Melbourne, starting at full forward. Kick inboard, looking for Viney. It's intercepted. And the mark is taken by Mitch Owens, who marks centre wing on the outer side. No score through 90 seconds.
Mitch Owens drives it long towards half forward, going up May, unable to mark. Petty roves it off hands for the D's. Handball to Hunter to Sparrow. Handball around the boundary. Back to Langdon. He'll kick around the boundary towards Melksham. Up he goes. It's knocked out. And a throw in between wing and half forward on the City side of the ground. No score yet through the opening 100 seconds on Grandstand AFL.
Well, it's a big story, isn't it? Because Stephen May, King, was going to be he's going to have his hands full already, but you look, Stephen May looks around now and he sees empty space, really, or certainly an opponent not the calibre of King that he has to keep an eye on, so that's massive for the game.
From the throw-in, Sparrow tries to get it forward for Melbourne to Brayshaw, away to Viney, back to Brayshaw, right half forward, inside 50, Melcham the target, can't take the mark, Howard got hands to it, Petrarca tries to wrestle it away from him, once it hits the deck, hand pass looking for Cosy Pickett, can't lick up, Ross had it, lost it, Neil pulling onto it, into the open goal for the first of the match. Was just able to charge it forward, and in the end, Alex Neil-Bullen, who has been a regular goal scorer for the Demons, was able to strike truly. First goal of the match comes 2.5 minutes in. It's Melbourne 1 straight 6 to the Saints yet to score.
A very interesting forward line for the Demons. They've only got the one tall in Ben Brown, so they'll be looking to get the forward. They had a lot of forward 50 entries last week, but just couldn't convert. They'll be looking to get that ball on the ground. Bally, quick thought. Petrarca starting as a forward without Clayton Oliver.
Yeah, look, I don't mind it. It's a show of faith, isn't it, for the midfield? And I guess Brayshaw, there's enough experience in there with Viney, so it's a show of faith and trust in that group to get it done. I don't mind it. I think they have to try. He's been getting shots. We know he kicked 12 goals, 19 for the season. He kicked 4 points last week. If that's 4 goals, it's a different story.
They probably need to kick 2 or 3 to win tonight.
They do tonight, don't they? And Melksham looks like he's probably got the Wilkie matchup as that defensive forward.
Crockett bounce in the middle. We'll do it again beneath the roof here at Docklands. St Kilda in there. Sir Doug Nichols round jumper for NAIDOC week. Melbourne in their royal blue with the red V and the white shorts. They come away with it out of the middle of the Saints. Errant handball from Viney onto it. Sinclair on the wing. Floats a kick forward of the wing. Ross does well in front of Rivers to take the mark. Feeds off the handball to Filippo. He drives it long towards full forward. No mark for Caminiti. Petty's there for the D's. Handball away to Langdon. To McVie. Back to Langdon. Right back pocket. The kick. Low down for Tajwo Woden. Drops the mark. Goes again. Now he's wrapped up. Can't get rid of it. The umpire says holding the ball.
That's stiff. That's a great tackle.
Start. Yeah.
That's a great tackle by Malira.
Wanganeen Malira able to ping him. First touch for the debutant. He was under pressure. The kick a little low and Couldn't quite grasp it and then caught holding the ball.
Just
Marked
the entry
out 47 out.
Sorry, Benny. The entry before that, I'd like to say there was a quick play on handball from Ross to Filippo, deep entry to two one-on-ones. Caminiti's got to take those marks, doesn't he? He's not going to get too many better looks than that against Lever and May down there. He's just got to take those.
Messiah Wanganeen Miller is looking to go into the pocket. Can he get it to Mason Wood? Can't take the mark. In front, it's gathered by McVee. Hand pass to Sparrow. Works it back to Langdon. High relieving kick up towards Cozzy Pickett. Can't take the mark. In front of Jimmy Webster. Spills away at Ben Brown. Links up with Viney. Hand pass too sharp. Steele gets the hand pass of the Saints. Back to Webster. High kick inside 50. Stephen May well set. Rides over the top of Mason Woods. Takes the mark and relieves with a kick to Rivers.
Rivers goes up the middle looking for Gawn, but it'll be chopped off by Wilkie. Marks in the middle of the ground. New contract during the week. He chips it short. And the mark taken here by Gresham. Gresham goes short to Wilkie. Attacking edge of the square for the Saints. Chips it inside 50. And the skipper tumbling backwards, able to juggle the mark. He brings it down, Jack Steele, in his milestone match. 45 metres out on a slight angle to the left-hand side.
I reckon we're going to see some intercept marks today, Bruno, at both ends of the ground. It's already one for Wilkie and May now. I can't quite work out who's gone on and gone forward with King coming off, but May's already looking dangerous as an interceptor back there, isn't he? But both teams are going to have to be on their job there.
The Saints skipper drives his shot on goal. It's a captain's goal to start in his milestone match. And the Saints come from everywhere to get around their skipper. One straight 6 apiece through the opening 6 minutes on Grandstand AFL, round 17, beneath the roof at Docklands. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Luke Ball and Brent Harvey.
You talk about intercept marks, Paulie. When Rivers got that ball and exited their defensive 50, he looked up and there's a wall of St Kilda players. And that's the way they play. They get numbers back, their mids get through, and they can set up behind the ball. Wilkie, intercept mark. Ball goes forward. It was a great finish by their captain, but a well needed goal, because you mentioned before, Caminiti, he had the opportunity to hit one back as soon as Melbourne kicked their goal.
There was a desire, wasn't there, from Rivers and a couple of times now to go corridor, but it'll be interesting to see. It hasn't come off. It's cost them a goal. Will they resort back to more wide, safer footy out of the back line, Melbourne?
Luke Ball and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. We'll head down to Lauren Board in a moment. Marshall gets the clearance, sends a high ball inside 50. It's wide of the intended target, but well gathered by Cooper Sharman. Hand pass to Ross over his shoulder, looking for Billings in his first senior game for 2023. Hand pass to Sinclair, high kick inside 50. Filippo, incredible spring. The vertical leap over the top of Petty to come down with the mark. 25 metres out, directly in front.
It's a great mark, isn't it? A lot of courage there.
Off balance and the sort of 180 in the air to get his body in prime position.
Well, he did what a lot of other people didn't do. He kept his eye on the ball the whole time.
Yep.
How exciting is this youngster for the Saints? Mateus Filippo, the teenager from directly in front. Looking to give the Saints an early lead. He comes in and just squeezes it in. Goal umpire scampering to the right for the all clear, but there is an appeal for a touch.
It was touched off the boot.
And Jake Lever is making sure that everyone's on the right page. So the goal has been registered on the big screen, but it won't be here. As I think the Melbourne players are just about set there waiting for the score review. It gives us
not only
time to go down to Lauren Bourne. Just hang on, Boomer.
Unfortunately, it's not good news for Max King. So he's been subbed out, and the club has said it is a shoulder injury. So unfortunately, he's re-injured that shoulder, heavy strapping, and it's what he's had problems with. So Ryan Burns already into the match, with Max King only lasting 3 minutes or so.
Every player on the ground is set up for a kick-in. So clearly,
it's going to be
the ball's touched.
But the umpire's got the ball back in the middle.
Yeah, he wants to bounce it.
He needs to work on his poker face. Filippo, he didn't celebrate at all. Umpire Nathan Williamson has the ball in the middle of the ground.
He might get a goal out of this. It doesn't look like the umpire called a goal, clearly.
The goal umpire signalled a goal, but everyone on the ground seemed to know.
No, every single player.
Plays? Oh, no. Back it goes. We're going to get the right result eventually, but
It's got a bit of the Keystone Cops about it, doesn't it? We're at one end and then we're back in the middle and then we're back down the other end with the right decision eventually being adjudicated. That was touched off the boot.
A little bizarre, Bally. It was everybody on the ground except for the goal umpire seemed to thought it was touched.
Even the home team activated the light show after a goal as well.
So Saints lead, but only by a point, not a goal. after 9 minutes.
Stephen May with the kick in. Short to Salem in the pocket in game 150 for him. Goes long to a contest. Grundy launches, brings it down in front. Brayshaw there for the D's. Handball to Viney, to Bowie, to Petty. Gang tackled. Look out inside D50. Held up. The umpire to come in and ball it up.
Good start, good pressure, good forward, half pressure from the Saints, good sign.
Zach Jones straight on the ground, straight tackle. That's what he's in there for.
45 metres out from the attacking goal for the Saints. Grundy unopposed, takes it out of the ruck, dribbles a kick beyond defensive 50. Spargo loses it under pressure. Jones arrives, now he's under pressure, gets a kick away. Viney's onto it, he's stripped of it immediately. Live footy inside 50 for the Saints. Phillippo shovels out a handball. Jones out to Stocker, 40 out, left foot snap is a good one. No. It's hit the post, just the right-hand goal post. A minor score, the Saints double their advantage. They lead by 2 points. Lauren Borden.
A lot going on in the St Kilda bench. Seb Ross has also gone down into the rooms with a knee complaint. So doctors have been going up and down the race at the moment, keeping busy.
Thanks, Oz. Bowie brings Melbourne back into play. It's not a good kick. And sliding in, Cordy takes the mark on a 45-degree angle, 45 metres out from goal. An unforced error from the Demons out of defence.
You don't see that very often from the Demons. We've had 2 already in the first 10 minutes. Rivers coming out, going through the corridor, as Bolly mentioned, and then that one was from a kick-in.
Yeah, it's, again, an indication that they're willing to take a few more risks, but that's naught from 2, isn't it?
Zane Cordy, 6 straight for the season, back from the VFL, it's offline, up against the left behind post. Caminiti tries to keep it alive, then becomes the tackler on McVie. Not sure he got a clean hand pass away. Ball stuck, tied up against the boundary as Langdon lays the tackle. And eventually it goes out. Left forward pocket for the Saints. They've done all the attacking. 7 inside 50s to 1 through the opening 11 minutes.
Sorry, Quincy, they were asleep last week, weren't they? And, we heard the response from the coach and the feedback that was given to them at half-time. You expect them to come out firing tonight.
More like a disappointed daddy, said Borley. You might have experienced that from Ross.
Sure did.
Phillippo shovels out a handball. Grundy gets involved, spits back towards Butler, snaps towards full forward. Caminiti swings onto the left and hits the post.
For Sharman, who's come on, and looks like he's probably going to be sent to keep Stephen May company. So, geez, that would have been a good start to his game, wouldn't it?
He had a lot more time than he actually thought, then. He probably could have taken another 3 or 4 steps.
Saints lead by 3 points. It could easily have been 3 goals. As May comes in to leave her in the right back pocket. Melbourne need a bit of stability. Long towards Gawn. Trying to reach up. Can't take the mark in front of Caminiti. Spargo with a hand pass away. Links up with Jordan. Dodging and weaving on the outer side. Spots Langdon pushing forward. He marks on his chest between wing and half forward. Charging into space is Melcham. Sends it in that direction. Zach Jones getting back. Cordy at the other end. So working at both ends of the ground for the Saints. Takes the mark. 35 metres out from his defensive goal. St Kilda by 3 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It was a premiership winning centre-half forward, Zane Cordy. The Dogs back in 2016, he's kicked close to the line and knocked out a throw-in between wing and half forward for Melbourne at the Lockett end of the ground.
Both teams setting up with a spare behind the ball, so it'll be interesting to see whose hand gets dealt first.
1-3 to 1 goal. St Kilda lead. Gawn slaps it on, but onto it. There is Crouch for the Saints. Tumbles a kick into the middle of the ground. Owens rising high, brings it down. Billings, handball away to Phillippo. Saints through the middle of the ground. Butler, tackled, gets a handball out. Arriving at the D's, May picks it up. Handball away to Brayshaw, to Lever. Close to the logo, loses it under pressure. Billings to Owens. He chips the Saints to half forward. Here's Gresham, pulls the trigger on goal, drills it to a vacant goal square and takes it. The Saints second through the agency of Jade Gresham with a long bomb. 2-3-15 the Saints. Melbourne 1 straight 6. 13 minutes and change into the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Front half pressure again, wasn't it, Boomer, that caused the turnover, and it's some senior players at the moment from Melbourne who are just coughing the ball up a bit in uncharacteristic fashion. It was Brayshaw then, Lever, just rushing their handball, so the pressure's there. And the Demons at the moment aren't able to absorb it, and they're coughing it up by hand, and that's 2 turnover goals essentially, and it could have been a lot worse.
And absolutely spot on. The kick I loved there was to Gresham. Melbourne had 2 players set back in the defensive 50. That's the way they love to play. They love to get the deepest. call it the goalkeeper, whatever you want to call it. Drop your eyes, Gresham. Beautiful finish.
Saints by 9 points. Brody Grundy into the ruck up against Marshall. Free kick going Marshall's way. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
St Kilda will be playing out the rest of this game with 3 subs. Seb Ross has gone down and he's had his right hammy now with ice on it, so he's out for the game.
Thanks, Lyles. Marshall long deep in an attack. Grundy dropped the mark and then he's locked up. 35 metres out from the Saints goal.
Goodness me. 2 down in the first 10 minutes.
So the Saints have come out firing, but now it's going to be a battle of endurance as much as anything else. Tap comes down the way of James Jordan. He's locked up by Steele and Gresham. And the umpire will ball it up once more. Saints inside their attacking 50, leading by 9 points. 9 inside 50s to 2. The Saints' way.
Up it goes. Grundy in the ruck. Lays it down. Levers there. Handball stolen by Owens. Loses it in the tackle. Ball bobbling around. Trying to pick it up. Butler at the bottom of the pack. And another ball up. Virtually the same spot.
Well, it's a challenge, but it's a great opportunity, isn't it? So Zach Jones comes into the team for his first game. Billings into his team for the first game. So they're going to have to play some more minutes tonight.
Grundy wins the tap again. Bowie going after it at ground level. In there's Zach Jones. He's wrenched to the ground. Nearly a dangerous tackle.
Yeah.
Have to be careful these days. Quarter-hour mark of the opening term. Saints by 9 points. Owens and Grundy, neither decisive. Picking it up, Butler. Spills out to Sparrow for the D's. Off to Judd McVie, who tumbles the ball to the wing.
Marshall gathers in front of Gawn, trying to get the hand pass away. Not sure he got one away as Brayshaw laid the tackle. Melbourne through Petrarca to Neil Bullen. Tackle by Steele. No whistle once more. Felt like it had to be either holding the ball or in the back. Umpire said he'll ball it up, maybe 50 cents each way. Still inside the centre square with the Saints leading by 9 points. Gawn doing the ruck work against Marshall. Spills down the way at Crouch. Kicks towards half forward. Filippo was shoved off it illegally by Christian Salem. And the ball will come to Mateus Filippo. Had the goal marked out. As he wheels onto his left, looks inside 50. It's over the head of Marshall. Spills to the back. Gresham knocked it down to Wood. Jams it on the boot for another for the Saints. He's got it. And the Saints have the opening 3 goals of the match. 3-3-21 to Melbourne 1 straight 6. All of a sudden the gap opens to 15 points, which is a true reflection of how dominant the Saints have been.
Great start.
16 minutes gone opening term.
It's a great start not only for the Saints, but it's a great start for the game. The pressure that they're putting on, and you called it before with the front half turnovers, has been electric. I thought he should have, not sure who kicked that ball inside 50, but he had Wanganeen Malera running past. I thought he should have given it to the half-back running through. He's got a beautiful penetrating kick, but in the end he wanted to take the kick himself, and it was just an opportunist goal, wasn't it, by Wood on the right boot, which we don't see very often. So great finish by Mason Wood, but yeah, it's a really good start to this game. Very hot.
Old teammate of yours, Boom Boom?
Yes. Great person, Mason Wood, and works extremely hard. Fantastic to see him doing well in 2023.
Bounce back in the middle. Going over the top of Marshall. Palms it down. Picking it up, Sparrow to Viney. Away to Jordan. Forward handball. Neil Bullen runs inside 50. Stabs it towards Grundy. Cordy gets in the way. Fisted away for the Saints. Half forward for the D's. Langdon's there. Handball to Spargo. Low ball. Bouncing ball. Gathering Melksham deep in the pocket. Snaps it back to the hot spot. Looking for a marker. Over the head of Hunter it goes. Free kick found. It'll go to Hunter. Directly in front, 15 metres out.
Well, it was great centre clearance work, wasn't it? And they just had to lift through there, didn't Melbourne? It was a senior player sensing the moment. Lovely bit of work out of the centre. And Alex Neil-Bullen probably should have taken an extra step and knocked that over, Boomer. A little bit unselfish, but terrific bit of play from Jake Melksham then. Great below his knees, pick up and swing back to a dangerous spot.
One the D's desperately need. Hunter delivers it. Their second major of the evening. St Kilda 3-3-21, Melbourne 2 straight 12. It's back to 9 points, 18 minutes into the opening term. Collingwood Premiership player Luke Ball, games record holder Brent Harvey.
It was interesting, you mentioned Neil Bullen, who probably should have finished his work, and I totally agree with you, but really interesting to see, and I missed it, how he got on his own by 25 metres from a centre bounce. If you're the half-back for St Kilda and you want to be aggressive, when you go, you have to impact Bally, because he was just sitting on his own at half-forward. I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Wanganeen Malera is going to him right now, so he might have been a little bit too aggressive off that centre bounce.
It's a lovely bit of play, wasn't it? Jake Melksham, he's looked pretty sharp. Snapped picked the ball up off his toes at full speed, centering ball, and pretty sloppy there from Ryan Burns to give the free kick away.
There is another game taking place as well tonight. Port Adelaide, the opening goal through Jeremy Finlayson against the Suns. Will keep you across that. Grundy did the ruck work and the roving. Gets the hand pass forward to Neil Bullen. Melbourne another chance to go inside 50. In from the side, Ben Brown. Taking the mark as he charged out in his fingertips. And trying to time his fly in from the side. Jimmy Webster couldn't deny the key forward.
It's the advantage of winning a clean centre clearance again, isn't it, Boomer? We know that the Saints at their best get numbers back hard, their wingers get back hard to support, but if you win the centre clearance cleanly, you very rarely get the opportunity for an opposition team to get numbers back to support. So that's been the last two for the Demons.
Lost his spot in the side after round 4. Was back last week with a behind. Ben Brown, they need a key forward and he's on the board now. With that textbook run in, delivers it straight over the goal umpire's hat. And St Kilda's lead has cut back to 3 points as Melbourne put on 2 quick ones on the trot. The Saints 3-3-21 to Melbourne 3 straight 18. 20 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
6 goals for the quarter. It's been a great start, as we mentioned. But again, Bally, Neil Bullen was the one that kicked that inside 50. Now, St Kilda have got to be a little bit more tactical in this. If there's a player in Melbourne's forward line right now that I don't want to drop off, it's Neil Bullen, because he gets up the ground, he works so hard. You've got to be at the ground and watch him live to see how hard he works. So you don't want to be dropping off him.
It was interesting you mentioned the centre bounce break there, Borley, because last week they had 73 inside 50s, 64 kicks inside 50, only 4 marks. So they just weren't marking it. 14 inside 50s from centre clearances when it is 6-6-6, and they still couldn't kick a score. Here goes Petrarca, winning the ball after the tap from Gawn. Handball errant though. Sinclair gets it for the Saints. On the logo, Crouch to Burns. Nowhere to go. Comes infield with the handball. Steele will have to track it. Feeds a handball to the runner Webster. Now to Sharman. Left foot kick inside 50 for the Saints. Looking for a marker. Caminiti brings it to ground. McVee's there. Runs straight into Butler. Umpire circles. No Pryor. And a ball up. 40 metres out from the attacking goal. Here for the Saints, they lead by 3 points. 3-3, plays 3 straight.
Umpire tosses in the air. Gawn wins down the tap. It pinballs the way of Sparrow. He's locked up with nowhere to go. 45 metres out from the Saints goal as Jack Steele is playing with intent tonight. Game 150 for the St Kilda captain. Thrown in the air. Caminiti to do the ruck against Gawn. Gawn tries to take it out of the ruck. And Crouch offers the support of Steele to lock it up once more. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Luke Ball, Brent Harvey and Lauren Borden with you for Saturday Night Footy. Max Gawn has another go at it, trying to knock it down and clear the congestion. Got it to Langdon to Bowie. Kicks out wide for Sparrow. Can't take the marker. Spargo it was. And Stocker spoils it out of play for a throw in at left half forward for the Saints. Just careful that Spargo didn't go cannoning into the fence, providing some good support there and a duty of care.
Umpire brings it back in. Gone down in front again. Straight to Crouch, though. Pickett steals it here for the D's. Handball to Jordan. Handball to Sparrow. Chaining handballs through the middle of the D's. Viney, long left leg kick inside 50. Melksham can't mark. Petrarca tries to rope. Gets it off to Woden. Snaps selflessly back to the hot spot. No mark taken. Live footy right forward pocket. Langdon jams it on the boot. And freakishly floats it through for a major. I think more fortuitous than by design, but you don't have to draw pictures. Melbourne, they take their second lead of the night. They're out by 3 points, 4 straight 24 plays, 3-3-21 at the 23-minute mark of this first term.
Gee, a big 5 minutes, hasn't it been? Boom, and that just turned momentum on its head here, the Demon. It's been the senior players, really, that have gone in. I love the work of James Jordan. There was a great chain of handballs, but instead of going boundary side, he cut back inside, and they had those overlap runners running through the corridor, didn't they? And it just allowed them to access the open side of the ground, the fat side of the ground. Good deep forward entry. Woden, really smart, wasn't it? Smart
was good,
kick,
kick.
Got himself in the right spot, hooked the ball back into a dangerous spot, and they get the reward. So big 5 minutes here from the D, because they were right under the pump for that first 10.
3 goals in 5 minutes after the Saints have put on 3 on the trot themselves. Sinclair with the clearance, sends St Kilda deep into defence, into attack. May gets the spoil on there. Lever racing back. Hand pass to Rivers on his defensive line. Gets the hand pass away to Bowie. Left back pocket. Kicks up towards Hunter. He marks on his chest in front of Brad Crouch. Has Salem running boundary side. Gives him the hand pass in game 150. Links up with Rivers away to Brayshaw. Melbourne's hand passing around the boundary. Too wide for Neil Bullen. And Dougal Howard spoils it out of play for a throw-in. One too many.
Well, if you're going to say deliberate, that's as deliberate as they come. He's a half a metre from the boundary, just punches it over.
It wasn't a kick, was it? It wasn't a spoil.
I've seen a lot worse, I'll tell you,
It's a great point. Sort of caught the umpire off. It's a great point. Had to be deliberate.
Melbourne have kicked the last 3 goals of the game. Neither ruck touches it. Woden gathers it. Handball out towards Viney. He's tackled by Steele. And Steele carries Viney out. A couple of tough hombres going at it there. Steele and Viney.
Well, this not to mention the previous goal kicker, Ed Langdon, which was a ripping shot for goal, wasn't it? He's had 11 possessions in this first quarter. So he's the one that's really got Melbourne going as well.
Melbourne by 3. Marshall drags it down to the front, then goes and gets it. Handball to Steele for St Kilda. Away to Crouch. Low ball. Well picked up by Owens. Great pick up. Handball to Filippo. Handball gets to Gresham. Pulls his kick. Poor kick. Turnover. Salem marks. At fullback for the D's.
Oh, he's chipped back. Missed Stephen May. He's got enough time to regather. As Caminiti offers chase, he puts it up to Neil Bullen. Drop the mark at right half back. Regathers. Gets the hand pass to Langdon. Around the outer side. Ben Brown with the arms outstretched takes the mark in front. Right half back. Melbourne leading by 3 points. 4 straight 24 to the Saints 3-3-21. Back inside the defensive 50 to Lever. Gets the hand pass to May. Melbourne's defensive duo combining and out to Rivers, who marks at left half back. Comes in more to Viney. Owens the other way. Big collision. Viney hit his feet. Gathers. Dribbles a kick up the wing. No one's there though for the Demons. Steals onto it. Looks inside 50. Kicks up towards Cordy. May big fly. And comes down with a footy in his hands. He was up on a left angle and beautifully was able to control it. Getting some height. Melbourne's number 1.
Fair grab, wasn't it? Lever at right half back. He'll send it long out towards the logo. And Neil Bullen's able to stand underneath it and mark. City side of the ground. Neil Bullen waits his kick. Good kick for Melksham, who's been busy early. Jack Melksham, high half forward, will send it into the pocket looking for Petrarca. But getting back, nice mark. Taken there by Marshall for the Saints. He switches it to Owens at right half back. Saints look to bring it down the dockside wing. Waits a kick for Filippo. Closing late May. Spoils it down. Pickett arrives. Coming through Webster too. Viney a big bump on him. Live footy on the wing. Cordy goes in. Hot footy at the moment. Rivers claims it for the D's. Handball back to Salem. Somehow kicks to Hunter, who marks with Billings closing. Neutral territory dockside wing.
How good's that from Jack Viney, Boomer? Those couple of efforts there.
Oh, he just does it every week, though, Brawley. It's expected now from him, isn't it?
Hunter kicks up to Gawn, who marks on his chest at left half forward. Melbourne leading by 3 points. Veers out to the right, looks to send the D's long and deep inside 50. Ben Brown has a fly, Petrarca as well. Gets to the back, Dougal Howard has to deal with it. Hand pass to Stocker, lost his footing. Hand pass back to Sinclair, through traffic to Billings. Fires it wide to Wanganeen Millerer. Looking for a short option, he finds Sinclair. Still 45 minutes out from his defensive goal. Short to Owens and now a bit more speed.
Here goes Wanganeen Millerer, picking it up in the middle for the Saints. Wants to switch it out towards Butler. City side of the ground, gathers on the bounce. Handball away to Burns. Runs the Saints forward of the wing. Handball to Wilkie. Wanganeen Millerer again, attacking edge of the square. Gets around McVie. High kick inside 50, looking for a marker. Good mark, Sparrow. Stands defensively for the D's and drags it in.
And Burns was looking for someone who'd come at him then, and the St Kilda players just wanted to out the back. You're not getting that against Lever. You're not getting it against May. They set up too defensively too well. You've got to come up and hit up at the ball carrier.
The voice of Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport as Sparrow puts it towards Ben Brown. Up, can't take the mark. Chance for Wilkie, gets the hand pass to Howard. Kicks it straight to Melbourne as the mark is taken by Judd McVie. Into the middle of the crowd, great kick for Gawn. He releases Woden, the young son of a gun, long inside 50. Petrarca the target, takes the mark, pushes off Crouch into the open goal and puts through Melbourne's fifth. Christian Petrarca with a show of force inside attacking 50. And the Demons haven't missed. 5 straight 30 to the Saints 3-3-21. 28 minutes gone, opening term. Now around the grounds there's a bit of sport taking place. At the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide 1-1-7. Level with the Gold Coast Suns 1-1-7. Still no action taking place at Leeds, with Australia to resume at 4 for 116. And in the netball grand final quarter time, the Thunderbirds lead the Swifts 35 goals to 27.
Beautiful kick, wasn't it? Judd McVie, we've just been so impressed by his first year of footy. It was the vision, wasn't it? It was just, he looked straight inside, and I mean, Max Gorn's not a hard man to spot, and we're actually not used to seeing that much space through the corridor, so that'll disappoint Ross, the coaching staff, on the turnover. And then Woden involved again. Really liked the start to his first game as well.
He's from WA, Judd McVie. 19 years ago, he's 19 years of age. Who won the Brownlow? You might get an idea of where I reckon he got his name from. As the Saints move it towards half forward, Steele with the clearance, going after it, Marshall, picking it up, Sinclair. Pulls his kick towards full forward, Bowie's there. Marks for Melbourne at fullback.
I'll go with sorry, Bolly. I'll go with Mark McVeigh. No, is that wrong? Is it? Sorry.
Named after the great Chris Judd, I assume. We'll try and find out as Lever kicks the D's to the wing. Brian Marshall comes in from the side and takes the mark.
Marshall retreats back by foot, finds Jimmy Webster.
It's a mate of Tajway Woden too, isn't he? Sorry, Clinchy. McVeigh.
Yeah, they came through the WA system together and from East Fremantle in the WAFL.
Tajway Woden presented his jumper by Mark Jamar, the former Melbourne ruckman. Long towards Bowie, who flies, can't take the intercepting mark from the Stocker kick. A chance for the Saints as Gresham's hand pass out wide. Wanganeen Miller are inside 50 and Caminiti just 15 metres further afield, out to the left. He'll kick from right on 50.
And that's the kick right there, the most important kick in football, the little one that goes inside 50. Hits up it, you've got to reward it, because if you don't, they just drop off the Melbourne defenders. That's how you beat them.
It's Harrison Petty there, just got ball watching, and smart by Caminiti, just snuck out the back.
2 goals, 1 last week against the West Coast Eagles, Paulie.
Yeah, got himself 20-30 metres of space.
The late signing, and with no Max King tonight, he might play a crucial role from right on 50. It's out to the right. Marshall's in the pack. Grundy as well. In the end, Melbourne rush it through for a minor score. It's the Demons who lead by 8 points. Melbourne with the last 4 goals of the match. 31 minutes gone, opening term.
The forwards have got to know their distance there. That's a really poor kick. If you don't make the distance and that ball lands 1 or 2 metres out, it gets punched through every single time.
Rivers receives the kick into the pocket, then drives it long to the wing. The Saints at the fall of the ball. Steele away to Wilkie. Long kick back into the pocket, flying in from the side. Caminiti hands to it. Filippo Rose. Handball to Sinclair, chopped off by Brayshaw. His handball back into the congestion. Filippo spinning, snapping off the Q end of the goalpost. He's hit it on the very top. I've never seen that before.
Hit the chalk.
That is unbelievable kick.
Right off the top of the goalpost.
Part of me feels like you should be rewarded for being able to do that.
2 points at least, maybe. Would have been a brilliant goal, wouldn't it?
He's had a couple of looks. Filippo now 2 behinds. The Saints lead is 7 points. As Salem brings Melbourne back into play, long towards Gawn and Grundy. Wilkie spoils it down. Gawn has to try and follow up. Tackle by Steele. Footy stuck underneath. It's knocked out the way of Viney. Can't quite get a disposal away. Wilkie lays the tackle. Spills the way of Marshall. His opposing ruckman Gawn gathers. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Links up with Petrarca. Kick is wide of Ben Brown. And it comes off the hands of Dougal Howard and out of play. Melbourne 5 straight 30 to the Saints 3-5-23. The Demons had 73 inside 50s last week against GWS but couldn't make them count. Grundy wins down the tap to Brayshaw, kicks up towards Gawn, got an awkward bounce against Cal Wilkie, spills the way of Dougal Howard, jams it on the boot but turns it over straight to Angus Brayshaw, who marks it left half forward. Now, is he going to have a torp after the side at quarter time? Why not? 75 metres out, do you reckon, Boomer?
It's about his distance, but I don't think he's going to kick this one.
It's one for the stat sheet here for Gus.
Yes.
This counts as an inside 50, Benny?
Yeah, it will.
Angus Brayshaw setting himself for the torpedo after the quarter-time siren. Comes in, trying to get it to spin the right way to land about 20 metres short. And no change to the scoreboard, in which was a pretty entertaining opening term. Melbourne kicked the first goal of the match. The Saints were then able to keep the next 3 before Melbourne finished with the last 4 of the quarter. And the Demons lead by 7 points at quarter time. 5 straight 30 to the Saints 3-5-23. For the Demons, goals to Petrarca, Hunter, Langdon, Neil Bullen and Brown. in the absence of Bailey Fritsch spreading the load, while for the Saints it's Gresham, Steele and Wood are their goal scorers. At the Adelaide Oval, the Gold Coast Suns through Toot Miller have taken the lead, 2-1-13 to Port Adelaide 1-2-8. And we are expecting some rain at Leeds. We'll let you know if play is able to resume on day 3. Of course, coverage is available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the designated cricket button. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Protecting our planet.
Breaking down barriers.
Supporting new migrants and refugees.
Lending a helping hand.
These are some of the ways
we became Australians of the Year.
The Australian of the Year awards are nominated by you.
So come on, reflect, respect,
and celebrate
Australians who are making a real difference.
Nominate them now at australianoftheyear.org.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Hand pass looking for Cossie Pickett. Can't lick up. Ross had it, lost it. Neil pulling onto it. Into the open goal for the first of the match.
Max King's coming straight for it. I hope that's not his shoulder.
Oh. Unfortunately, it's not good news for Max King. So he's been subbed out, and the club has said it is a shoulder injury. So unfortunately, he's re-injured that shoulder.
Edge of the square for the Saints. Chips it inside 50. And the skipper tumbling backwards, able to juggle the mark. The Saints skipper drives his shot on goal. It's a captain's goal to start. He chips the Saints to half forward. Here's Gresham, pulls the trigger on goal, drills it to a vacant goal square and takes it.
St Kilda will be playing out the rest of this game with 3 subs. Seb Ross has gone down and he's had his right hammy now with ice on it, so he's out for the game.
As he wheels onto his left, looks inside 50, it's over the head of Marshall, spills to the back, Gresham knocked it down to Wood, jams it on the boot for another for the Saints. He's got it. Gets the hand pass forward to Neil Bullen. Melbourne another chance to go inside 50. In from the side, Ben Brown. Ben Brown, they need a key forward and he's on the board now with that textbook run in. Delivers it straight over the goal umpire's hat.
Gets it off to Woden. Snaps selflessly back to the hot spot. No mark taken. Live footy right forward pocket. Langdon jams it on the boot and freakishly floats it through for a major.
He releases Woden, the young son of a gun, long inside 50. Petrarca the target, takes the mark, pushes off Crouch into the open goal and puts through Melbourne's fifth.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
An opening quarter that had a little bit of everything, really. Melbourne leading by 7 points, 5 straight 30 to the Saints 3-5-23. The Saints also had 3 posters in that opening term, as you heard from Lauren Borden. Max King subbed out with a shoulder injury. Ryan Burns into the action. And Seb Ross is out with a hamstring injury. So the Saints will be down to 3 fit players on the bench for the remainder of the match. Joel Smith is the sub for the Demons. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts, Luke Ball and Brent Harvey.
Well, it's going to be interesting this second quarter because the rotations, we won't see the rotation starting to really hurt him until deep into the third quarter and probably the last quarter. Seb Ross is a big out, but Max King is a huge out. Just for their forward setup. I know Caminiti's going to have to take more of a role now of a marking player. Marshall might have to spend a little bit more time down there. Owens as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out. I thought St Kilda's pressure, forward half pressure, you mentioned that a couple of times, was fantastic. I'd love to see him especially against Melbourne. There's certain teams in the competition for me. Melbourne, Richmond and Geelong are probably the top 3, where if you can drop your eyes and hit that ball going inside forward 50, you're going to find that Lever, May, they all want to drop off and be the goalkeepers. So I'd love to see St Kilda just keep dropping those eyes going inside forward 50. And of course with Melbourne, that risk versus reward coming back through the middle. I counted 3 that didn't work, bully, but gee, the one that came off, it went from half-back flank straight through the middle of the ground where Petrarca kicked that beautiful goal. It works, and it works pretty well.
Well, they get easier shots, don't they? So they kick 5 straight, where they've been really struggling on that front over the last 5 weeks, as we spoke about. They haven't been able to kick more than 8 goals, whereas you picture Petrarca running into an open goal. A lot of those goals resulted from deep entries, a couple of them from the centre bounce, which we spoke about, where you get one-on-one contests ahead of the ball, but deep entries to that 0 to 25, 0 to 30, where even if the ball hits the ground, you get your crummers involved, and you get a much better chance, don't you, to impact the scoreboard. But yeah, it's a good call. I mean, I thought the Saints were all over them that first 15 minutes, and Melbourne looked a bit fumbly, looked a bit jumpy, especially in their back half.
Yeah, they got themselves back in the game, though. In that last 10 minutes of football where they kicked the last 4 ball, he got themselves back in the game.
18 entries for the Saints, so that puts them on target for 72, and they've had 8 shots, so 3 goals, 5, should have been 5-3, a couple of bad misses at least. So still a bit to like from their point of view. It is going to be interesting to see, isn't it? With, the impact that Stephen May will have on the game, not having to worry about King now being out there, Max King, which is a real shame. And Seb Ross has been in pretty good form as well. So, as we said, the challenge is there. Okay, so that's the sub. You get to use that. And we know they're a really hard-running team, this Saints team. So they're going to need to exercise all cylinders, aren't they, today, to be able to run this one out.
They certainly are. Just at the start of this second quarter, Maxi Gawn walking down to centre-half forward. See if they can stretch the St Kilda defence. Obviously, Grundy going in to take the ruck.
Brent Harvey and Luke Ball, your experts on ABC Sport at the Adelaide Oval. The Gold Coast Suns lead 3-1-19 to Port Adelaide 2-2-14. And in the Super Netball Grand Final, start of the third term, it's the Adelaide Thunderbirds 36 goals to the New South Wales Swifts 28. Melbourne by 7 points as we get the second quarter underway. Brodie Grundy wins down the tap with Marshall out in the direction of Gresham. Slipped over but got a hand pass forward. Petrarca's onto it. Gets the hand pass away. Links up with Woden. Back to Grundy. Ready to a dead end. Steele lays the tackle. Gone. Now Mason Wood got a hand pass forward. That shouldn't be advantage. The Saints take it and now they're gone. As James Jordan lays the tackle on Gresham and Melbourne will win back the footy.
Won't endear, as I say to Ross, but won't endear yourself to winning coach with that sort of effort from Jade. Gresham just got a better game awareness there, don't you?
Out of contract at the end of the year, a free agent as well. Will he be at the Saints next year? May on the logo, long kick. Wangane Malira, nice intercept mark. Takes it for the Saints at right half back. Comes infield to Windhager. Thinks about giving it back to Wangane Malira. Instead goes right back to fullback. And Liam Stocker, in the number made famous by Luke Ball, kicks across to Mason Wood, who will kick to the wing. Clean bowls a few. Gets out the back towards Marshall. He's ragdolled by Grundy. Dangerous tackle, free kick.
What do you think about that one, Bert?
Yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it?
It's not really dangerous.
Yeah, it was a bit more of a throw than a sling, wasn't it?
But by the jumper. The slings that we're used to is where the body weight gets involved as well.
And you're picking arms.
Correct, yeah. Anyway.
Saints have it on the broadcast side through Jimmy Webster. Chips it over the top and Wood takes the mark. Demons leading by 7 points, trying to find an avenue forward. Up to Billings, gets his opportunity for the first time in season 2023. Averaging over 15 disposals in the VFL. Long kick inside 50, no mark claimed. Burns is onto it, stripped of it by Neil Bullen. The umpire blowing his whistle in the meantime. And we'll ball it up at centre half forward for the Saints. Led the inside 50s 18-10 in that first term. As Brodie Grundy wins down the tap in the direction of Petrarca, links up with Hunter. The hand pass to him at left half back. He sends it around the outer wing. The kick is wide of Melcham, straight to the boundary. Umpire gives him an out, said it was a skill error, throw it in.
I'll tell you what the umpires are really lenient on now is the guy running around the back of him, that protected zone of 5 metres. Watching Thursday and Friday night's games, I reckon there was 4 or 5 free kicks that 100% would have been paid earlier on in the year.
Get down to Lauren Borden in a minute. Slapping it down, Marshall from the throw-in. Petrarca onto it, handball over his head. Jordan bursting by here for the D's. He'll kick inside 50. Overshoots the target, spills to Spargo. Stands up in the tackle. Handball to Brown. Snap on goal. Hits the post. A behind first blemish for the D's. They lead by 8 points, Lauren Borden.
The Saints have started the second quarter with just 2 fit players on the bench. So Max King, Seb Ross already out, and Zane Cordy's down in the rooms as well.
Gee whiz. Tough night for the interchange Stewart. Trying to send them back as they come to the bench. The Saints go short. Wangane Miller out. Goes short to Wood and now to Sinclair at left half back. Spots Billings free. Good kick that clears Salem. How's it centre wing on the broadcast side? Scott Caminiti free and Owens if he can get it to him. The kick is ill placed. And Jake Lever takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne. They're the number 1 intercept mark side in the competition, Melbourne. And they'll take them at the peril if they kick it like that. Lever goes short. And they work it through Grundy in the defensive 50 and now to Petty. Back in defence after having a little foray forward, and he goes short to Viney, still inside the defensive 50. Melbourne by 8 points.
Viney at left half back. Wheels around the man on the mark. Kicks around the city wing. Unable to take a mark there. Gorn out the back it goes. Sinclair there for the Saints. Time to stop. Prop and squeezes a kick nicely. Away to Burns, who marks just forward of the logo.
It's a beautiful kick by Sinclair. He's got great decision making, but executes the skill very, very well.
Burns drives the Saints inside 50. Off the hands of Sharman. Filippo's there. Handball away to Caminiti. Handball back to Sharman. Handball to Marshall. Back to Sinclair. Floats it on goal. Poor kick. Turnover. Mark taken at fullback by Rivers for the D's.
Sends it out towards Brody Grundy. Tries to tap it to his own advantage with Wood hanging off him. Knocked it down to Wanganeen Miller. Kicked around his body to Gresham. Couldn't take it cleanly. Rivers is outnumbered. He fought well, but lost it now. Gresham onto it. Centering kick. Finds Crouch. Pretty much directly in front. 40 metres out from goal. A chance for the Saints to strike first in this second quarter.
You mentioned the kick from Sinclair, Boomer. It was a really sloppy kick from Jared Rivers. Trent Rivers, wasn't it, coming out of the... That's the kick that you can't afford to be sloppy with. A one-stepper. He had Grundy out in space. It's just a lazy kick and allowed the St Kilda player to close and pressure, and ends up in a shot on goal.
17 tackles last week against the West Coast Eagles. Not a known goal kicker. Brad Crouch comes in. Not a bad effort. It just fades to the left. And their perils in front of goal continue. 3-6-24 to Melbourne 5-1-31. 5 minutes gone, second term.
May short to the left back pocket. Salem accepts it. They're hemmed in a little bit. These by 7 points as Salem sets it long. Looking for a marker. Brown hands to it. Burns in front for the Saints. Wrenched off it. He just gets a kick away. Marshall trying to pick it up. Eventually picking it up is Wilkie. Away to Jones, to Crouch. On the logo now, the Saints. And Stocker will kick infield to Wanganeen Malera. Dodgy hand pass. Sets a task for Dougal Howard. Gets it back to Stocker. Back to Wanganeen Malera. Looking for a leading target here, Caminiti. Bouncing ball. Oh, he splits a couple of them. Handball's errant though, a turnover. Neil Bullen back at right half back there for the D's. Handball to Judd McVie and his handball out. And a throw in left half forward for the Saints. Melbourne by 7 points, 6 minutes played, second term.
I would have loved to see Wanganeen Malera then look up, see who's chasing him. It was Grundy who was facing him, and just say, you know what, let's go. One-on-one, come and catch me, because he's not going to catch him.
Voice of Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. Max Gorn with a shove right in the back of Rowan Marshall. He's at left half forward, probably 52, 53 metres out from goal, which with his best kick is probably not beyond him.
Agrees with you, Clinchy.
Marshall, though, with the 1 goal, 6 so far this season, so...
The mouth guard and the sock straight away. Fancies himself from here.
Just hopefully it's not one of those kicks that land 1 or 2 metres out, Paulie.
A long point.
Rowan Marshall looking to try and spark the Saints to life. If he is out to the right, he'll just put it to the top of the square. Where's Caminiti? Can't take the mark. Owens in front. Had it spoiled away from him. Onto it, Brayshaw for Melbourne. Hand pass to Langdon. The footy was off balance as he kicks it straight up in the air, and Marshall's underneath it. And he might have another go. This time maybe he'll have a shot.
He's put his size 14 boot straight in Neil Bullen's face then.
Yeah, he's not happy either. And probably rightfully so, because it was unnecessary. It was a sort of an extension of it too, wasn't it? You've seen those.
Yeah.
I reckon paid, Benny.
We immediately think of Toby Green.
Yes. Yeah, it was...
Patrick Dangerfield had one back in Gather Round against the Eagles, I remember as well. So big Row Marshall. Again, he just sets it up towards the hot spot, looking for a fly. Gorn spoils it down. Sinclair's there, snapping, missing. Away to the right. Behind. Lauren Borden downstairs.
It's not looking good for St Kilda. Zane Cordy's come back up. He's holding onto his boots and he's parked himself next to Seb Ross, who's out for the game. So waiting for confirmation from St Kilda. But it looks like St Kilda might be down to 2 on the bench.
Thanks, Loz. Long kick out of defence for the Demons. Gorn couldn't take them up. Brad crouches onto it. Hand pass to Winhagen. Links up with Burns. Around the outer wing to Wanganeen Miller. Goes short. Stocker not paid the 15. Had to release it. Got it to Wanganeen Malera. Had to link up with Zach Jones. He's dragged down.
Good pressure.
And Melbourne are able to lock it up in the middle of the ground, courtesy of a good tackle from Tom Sparrow. At the Adelaide Oval, the Gold Coast Suns lead Port Adelaide. Quarter time there. As it's thrown up in the middle of Docklands. Hunter tries to knock it to the advantage of Sparrow, links up with Rivers, hand pass to Brayshaw in tight confinement, links up with Big Max Gorn, looks inside 50, puts it out in front of Keziah Pickett, it bounces in front of him, he lays the tackle on Wilkie, hand pass away to Wanganeen Miller, links up with Webster, kicks out to Wood, who marks it left half back.
Wood sweeps a handball over the top, off to Billings, just backward of neutral territory on the wing, stabs a pass to Caminiti. Rivers coming in off the bench, was in the protected area. Caminiti goes long to half forward for the Saints. Petty's there, can't mark. Ball on the ground, trying to pick it up. Owens is tackled by Petty. And a ball up, left half forward for the Saints. Big night for the Petty family. Harry's sister Hannah playing in the Super Netball decider for the Thunderbirds. As the D's clear it through Langdon, though barely, it's straight up and down. Unable to mark. Underneath it, Wood. He'll get a free kick. Jones will take the advantage for the Saints. Goes long towards full forward. Caminiti and Petty. Petty spoils. And May clears, though not perfectly. Spargo does well. Controls it down and marks.
Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Zane Cordy officially ruled out with concussions. That means the Saints are down to 2 on the bench for 2.5 quarters. I can't really remember the last time a club's only had 2 on the bench.
No, it doesn't spring to mind.
No, it's going to hurt.
Well,
it's going to hurt.
It will, yeah. It's still 2 against 4, isn't it? So Melbourne, as a Joel Smith, you're really tactical about how they inject into the game at the right time.
Spargo went back to Hunter and now to Lever. Looks up towards Gorn and Dougal Howard. Big Max in front, takes the mark. Feeds the hand pass around the back to Rivers. He works it forward by a foot to Langdon. Marks centre wing. Has Jordan running in the space. Tries to chip it to his advantage. Doesn't have to break stride. Can hand pass to Brown running the boundary line. He's got Melcham in the pocket. Pokes it to him. And Ben Brown would have been within his rights to have a shot on goal. Melcham was all on his own though. It's a tight angle but only about 20 metres out.
Yeah, I reckon he executes his skill pretty well too, Jake Melcham, on his left foot. So tough chance, but nice passage of play. Good chain of ball movement from the Demons. Started with the terrific contested mark from Max Gorn.
Playing his 100th game for the Demons in game 213. He's been the sub on 4 occasions. Swings out on his left. Beautiful finish. You knew it all too well, Paulie, as he curled it around the corner superbly. And for all of St Kilda's effort at one end, Melbourne are able to kick truly at the other. And it's a 12-point lead the Demons' way. 6-1-37 to the Saints 3-7-25. The Demons 1-1 to the Saints 2 behinds in this second quarter, which is now 12 minutes old.
Well, I think it's about 25 inside 50s to 12 or 13 St Kilda's, Melbourne's way. So this happened to Melbourne last week where they... Sorry, St Kilda's way, I should say, Paulie.
Yep.
This happened to Melbourne last week where they had so many more inside 50s, but they just couldn't hit the scoreboard, in particular with goals. And St Kilda have done exactly the same thing. They just haven't taken their chances when they need to. Thought Ben Brown could have helped Melcham out with a kick a little bit. He put it to the boundary side. Probably could have drawn him in a little bit, but great call, Paulie. He does finish well, doesn't he? That was his opposite side of his body, and it was beautiful.
At the Adelaide Oval, the Suns 4-1-25, leading the Port Adelaide side 2-2-14. Sorry, Benny.
Wow. Kicked the last 5 goals of the game here, the D's. A free kick in the middle from the restart going to Viney.
Only had 3 possessions, Melcham, but it's felt like he's beaten the game. He's impacting the game, isn't he?
Viney goes straight up the middle in the Gorn direction off his fingertips. Ball bobbling around as a pack immediately forms, and Webster taking the ground in the tackle. Ball up.
Posy Pickett only the 1 handball, so some upside for him there.
35 out from the attacking goal for the D's. Gresham trying to come away with it. Crouch too. Handball to Steele. Handball to Stocker. Kicks it into Gresham's backside. Spills away and Gresham can gather. He'll kick the Saints out towards the city wing. Onto it though, Bowie for the D's. Handball back to Petty. Caminiti's on him. Ball jars free. Butler picks it up. Releases Caminiti with the handball nearly. Lever comes in to help out for the D's. Handball to Brayshaw. His handball back into the congestion.
Through traffic, links up with a hand pass to Owens. One way, then the other onto his left. Vacant goal now trying to clear Stephen May, who comes in from the side. And if he wasn't paid the mark, he would have got the free kick against Cooper Sharman. Gives him a bit of a shove to the chest as well.
It's the goalkeeper again, Boomer.
That's what he does. Him and Lever. If it's not May, it'll be Lever. You can bet your money on it.
Up to 5 marks for the match, Stephen May. With no Max King, he's an opposing figure. Sends the long kick towards Max Gorn. It clears him in the pack. Dougal Howard at the back for the Saints. Hand pass over his shoulder to Burns, who's taken out of play. Melbourne 6-1-37, leading St Kilda 3-7-25. 13 minutes gone, second quarter. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden, Brent Harvey and Luke Ball with you on Saturday Night Footy. Thrown back in. Gawn and Marshall tap down to the front. A chance for Crouch. High bump on Sparrow. Spills the way of Hunter. Kicks around the wing. Petrarca works his way to the front. Dropped the mark. Spargow's locked up by Winhager. And the umpire will ball it up still on the wing.
After a cracking first quarter of 8 goals, Paulie, 1 goal scored this quarter. So, come on, boys, get a move on.
Stride up a little bit. Steele gets a handball out of the congestion. Hunter coming through it. Spills to Sparrow. He's tackled. Holding the ball. Marshall pins it to him and will get the free kick just backward of halfway city side of the ground. Melbourne leading by 2 goals neat. Marshall retreats back to Cal Wilkie. Moves to 8th all time in consecutive games from debut tonight. 101 consecutively. The Saints complete the switch. Webster chisels a ball turnover. Lever marks at half-back there for the D's. Look out, handball to May, run down by Sharman. Spills away to Gresham. The Saints are out. Caminiti. Handball away to
lucky.
Owens. And Owens is taken high. Very lucky, Caminiti. He nearly missed his handball. It was a fresh area on the handball.
All right, some people will disagree with this. If you're a key forward and you mark the ball 12 metres out, I do not care if there's nobody next to you and another teammate in the goal square. Just go back, big fella, and kick the goal.
It was nearly Calamity Caminiti. But Owens wins the free kick to save his blushes and get the Saints going again. Owens kicks it. Back to 1 goal, Melbourne's advantage. 6-1-37 plays 4-7-31. Here on Grandstand AFL, 15 minutes into this second term.
It's a game of awareness, this game, Bally. You've just got to be aware what's around you. If someone gives you a handball, you've got to know if they're coming from the left, coming from the right. We see a lot of soccer players scan. We've had a couple of mistakes made tonight with just awareness. We called Jake Gresham earlier in that quarter. And that's what it is. It's a game. It's a 360 game. It's a game of awareness. So well done to St Kilda to be on to it. But gee, Caminiti.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That was bad. Talk to us about scan, Boomer. So just keeping your head on a swivel.
And just making sure that you know that when you've got the football, the opposition have got a +1 behind you. Can you turn and go quick? Can you drop your eyes? Is someone on your left? Is someone on your right? Scanning's got to know all the parts around the ground.
Breaks a run of 5 consecutive goals for Melbourne. The Saints first since the 16-minute mark of the opening term to pull it back to a 6-point ball game. Second ball up in the middle of the ground. Grundy tried to get a boot to Paul, couldn't do so. Zach Jones releases Sinclair through the middle, kicks out towards Marshall, trying to juggle the mark, can't hang on to it. A chance for Filippo. Hand pass missed the intended teammate. Jones gets down low, and Salem lays the tackle 55 metres out from the Saints' goal.
You know what you get from Zach Jones, don't you? That's what you get right there. That's just a one-on-one 50-50 ball, and he halves it or wins it.
All of a sudden, the Saints have found a bit of mojo. As a free kick is going Melbourne's way in the ruck battle against Rowan Marshall. It's Brodie Grundy who will take it. He chips out to James Jordan, who marks it right half back for the Demons.
Jordan with 23 on his back. It just feels right. He kicks to Langdon. And he marks forward of the wing. He was the sub on grand final day a couple of years ago. Didn't get on the ground. Langdon chips it back to Jordan at high half forward here for the D's.
What did they win by on that day, Benny?
73.
He didn't get on the ground.
I thought they could have found an injury somewhere to get him on. He drives the D's to full forward here. Brown over his head, holding free kick. Sparrow takes the advantage, and the umpire lets him. Sparrow puts it through, and the D's get the instant reply. They're back out by 2 goals. 7-1-43 plays 4-7-31. 18 minutes travelled second term.
Well, there are 2 players that are getting opportunity, Boom, with that man Oliver not being out there, and he's not going to be there for another month or so too, we think. So young Sparrow's getting some real responsibility through the centre bounce, and he's up to 11 possessions now, and Smart there gets on the end of one. Jordan's the yellow one's up to 11 possessions. So these Melbourne midfielders who've been banging the door down, wanting opportunity, well, here it is. Our big gun's not out there. They're playing Petrarca a bit more forward, so a lot more pure midfield exposure to to Jordan and Sparrow in particular, and tonight they're taking their opportunity. Important goal. That just felt like the Saints were on top the last 5 or 6 minutes.
So Melbourne back in front by 12 points, back in the middle of the ground. Brody Grundy wins down the tap to Viney. Hand pass out in front of Jordan. First onto it was Wood. Hand pass to Crouch, crunched in a tackle by Grundy charging through. And the umpire will ball it up just short of centre half forward for the Demons on the edge of the centre square. Melbourne 7-1-43. The Saints 4-7-31. Marshall doing the ruck work against Grundy. Spills down the way of Steele, trying to knock it to the advantage of Wood, who now becomes the tackler on Tajwa Woden. And the umpire will ball it up. At the Adelaide Oval, the Gold Coast Suns still lead 5-1-31 to Port Adelaide 3-2-20. Second quarter action there. There is a call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. Great Jake Gresham trying to charge his way through. Can't do so as Angus Brayshaw had him. Umpire throws it up once more. Melbourne at centre half forward. Grundy wins down the tap. Swooping onto it, Burns. Got it to Steele. Not sure he got a hand pass away. Kicks up the wing. Petty's well set. And he takes the intercepting mark against Cooper Sharman. And a chance for the D's to reload and head inside 50.
So Petty chips it short to Salem on the logo dock side of the ground. D's by 2 goals.
Very stagnant forward line. There's no one leading. Hence why he's just kicking around the ground.
He goes back to Petty. Inside the centre square, he chips towards the centre circles, and Stephen May marks. Sends it out wide. On the bounce, Lever gathers. Stops, props, and Lever will kick back to Judd McVie, who accepts it.
Just as Melbourne are mucking around with the footy, I can tell you it's three-quarter time in the netball, the Super Netball final. Adelaide Thunderbirds lead the New South Wales Swifts 43 goals to 40, so in for a thrilling final there. Bowie sends Melbourne towards the 50. Rowan Marshall. Big mark coming in from the side. That's a big contested mark. In front of Brent Brown, he marks 45 metres out from his defensive goal.
It's a really good contest, isn't it? Rowan Marshall really pretty well won out, taking on both Grundy and Gawn.
Up towards Mitch Owens, who put his knee right in the back of Sparrow. McVie with a hand pass away to Hunter around the boundary line. It may still work. McVie back to Jordan, trying to shake the tackle. Feeds the hand pass out. The kick inside 50 from McVie. Brown can't take the mark. Webster's onto it. Petrarca lays the tackle. He locks it up 35 metres out from Melbourne's goal.
You mentioned it before, because he picked it only to one touch, still
can't get near it, can he?
Webster's playing all over him.
Oh, Grundy arriving late. Jumps on the back of Marshall to tap it down. Petrarca. Clever little handball. Melcham dribbling it on goal. It hits the post. Behind. 13 points, Melbourne's advantage. 21.5 into the second.
And in the cricket, day 3 from Leeds, there's rain taking place, so no play getting underway for the moment. We'll bring you a bizarre story about a haircut at half-time. The Saints long out of defence. Bowie picks it up. Hand pass to a teammate. And all of a sudden there's a bit of a spike as Filippo lays the tackle on Tajwa Woden with Jimmy Webster. There's players charging in, trying to get physically involved. Marshall and Grundy resume their battle. Umpire lets the whistle, lets them go as Crouch with a clearing kick from centre half back into the middle of the ground. A good kick to Billings. He marks to the right of the centre circles. Has players streaming past. He ignores them. Now looks longer inside 50. Puts it out in front of Mitch Owens, who lunging forward. Takes the mark out to the right on 50.
It was interesting. They all had one-on-ones again, Bolly, but
just go, didn't he?
But nobody. All the forwards for St Kilda, the 3 talls, were all running back towards goal. Nobody wanted to hit back up at the ball carrier. The easiest kick in football is when someone's running at you and you can miss a metre either side of him, and they just work and they work the ball for you.
He's taking some deep breaths. He's not going to have a shot on goal. He lines it up in the direction of Filippo. There's no high flyers, and Petty takes the mark for Melbourne. 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Around the back to May, who kicks to Lever. He marks in the left back pocket for the Demons, leading by 13.
Lever wants to switch it to Grundy. Gives it off to Rivers. Rivers will kick to the wing, and Spargo can take it. Headband on. 4th generation league footballer. Here's Spargo. Goes back to Bowie, who's a 2nd generation league footballer. His kick a little dicey to Neil Bullen. He's able to recover it. Now the umpire says you've taken the advantage, but he's going to let it come back.
50.
A 50-metre penalty to Neil Bullen.
Marshall was holding him on the ground, wouldn't let him get up. You don't see those free kicks paid very often. 50 for holding.
So Neil Bullen will be marched downfield. The mark set 55 metres out. Melbourne by 13 points.
The Demons with 7 individual goal scorers, in which Alex Neil-Bullen is one of them. He's 55 metres out from goal, though. He looks towards the teeth of goal. Brodie Grundy's gone forward, in from the side. Dougal Howard did enough to control the mark in the eyes of the umpire. He marks in the left back pocket for the Saints. He managed just the 1 goal so far in this second quarter to Melbourne's 2. So it goes back across the defensive goal line. And the mark is taken on the last line by Marcus Winhager. Looking for options out of defence. Sends a long ball to the outer side. Filippo rose early. No free kick or mark claim. Viney underneath it. Trying to get the hand pass away. Able to link up with Hunter. Back to Viney. In tight confinement, he jams it on his left. Bounces it end over end. Out in front of Melcham, who gathers. In front of Winhagen. Around the corner, Stocker takes the intercepting mark. He claims it 35 metres out from the Saints' goal.
Stocker wants to swing it towards the dockside. Mark taken by Gresham. Sells a little candy. Has to stop, prop and go short to Wangani Malira. Who marks just backward of the logo. Runs away with it. Feeds a handball forward to Steele. On the logo, long kick inside 50. Caminiti on a searching lead. On the bounce, he can't keep it in. Throw in 53 around from the attacking goal here for the Saints. I mentioned Jake Bowie, a second-generation league footballer. Worth mentioning his dad, Brett, of course, played 85 games for the Saints.
Just short, wasn't he? 15. For father-son eligibility anyway, whether he would have got drafted. He went through the hard way.
Any crossover with you, Bawley,
no,
or just before you?
I think he might have worn number 14 too, Benny. So no, missed him.
The Demons through Viney up towards half forward. Melcham couldn't take the mark. Viney's back onto it. Tackle by Sinclair. Trying to link up with Melcham. Wilkie with a crucial touch. Pickett coming in from the side. Jack Sinclair slides in. Hand pass to Gresham. Around the broadcast wing to Wood. Links up with Sinclair. A third involvement. Up towards Caminiti. Can't clear Petty. And takes the mark at right half back for the Demons, leading by 13 points. 7-2-44 to the Saints 4-7-31.
An up and down start to the game, Petty, but I think he's taken 3 intercept marks in the last 5 minutes.
Up the wing, Marshall can't take the mark. A free kick, though, as Brodie Grundy is shoved out of it. He'll take it centre wing for the Demons.
2 goals to 1. The way of the D's in this second term. The kick looking for Brown. He has to spoil it away from Marshall, then gets a kick forward to Melcham. Melcham wheels and kicks to full forward. Spargo bounces off his chest. Coming through, Jones there for the Saints, picks it up. And they're saved by the bell. But he's kicked 2 goals to 1, as I mentioned, in that second term. And it is 7-2-44 to 4-7-31 the way of the D's. They have kicked 6 of the last 7 goals in the game, Melbourne. The goal kickers for the D's, Petrarca, Hunter, Langdon, Melcham, Neil-Bullen, Sparrow and Ben Brown. While for St Kilda, Gresham, Jack Steele in game 150, Owens and Mason Wood. So Melbourne by 13 points at the half.
The thoughts of Luke Ball and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport.
Entertaining, Puma. Yeah, I think that quarter certainly a lot more even and probably a little bit more of what we expected for this sort of game. Defence winning out, I think from Melbourne's point of view, the impact of not having King there and May and Lever and Petty we spoke about late in that quarter, really controlling the play and certainly forcing the Saints wide, and they really weren't able to get any other than that mistake from May, wasn't it, where he got the handball receive and that resulted in the Owens goal. Other than that, there wasn't really any threatening looks at goal from the Saints that quarter. It was very much on Melbourne's terms, pretty even around the middle. I think it's a really good contest around there, again, as we expected. The ruck's a really good contest as well. And really the difference has been Melbourne's efficiency going forward. The Saints have had a lot more looks inside 50. What have they had there, Boom? We'll get those
28 to 21.
28 inside 50s for 4 goals, 7. So, just that quarter in particular, they weren't able to really get any good looks at it, as I said. And Melbourne, on the flip side, have kicked 7 goals, 2 from their entry. So that's the difference in the game at the moment, really, isn't it? Melbourne just being a little bit more polished and efficient and taking their chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And the clearances say 18 apiece, but if I didn't know the stat, Bally, I would have said Melbourne are all over them in that area. In particular, the centre bounce clearances, where they've got some more cleaner ball going forward. So the stats all, other than the inside 50s at 28 to 21, the stats look fairly even. Melbourne, 9 shots on goal versus 11 to St Kilda, but bad kicking, bad football. We've said that for about 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. Sydney lost the game through it. Melbourne lost the game through it last week. Will St Kilda do the same this week? So the big talking point is 2 down on the bench for the Saints, and it's going to be... It wouldn't have hurt them just then. I did see a few players holding the bottom of the shorts, sucking the big ones in before they get into half time. But we'll see that at about the 15-minute mark of the third quarter, Bully, when the rotations are... They're nowhere near it. You're looking for an opportunity to get off the ground, but you just can't.
Yeah, and they are a good finishing side as well, Melbourne. So they've won 11 of their final terms this year.
Yeah, I think that both these teams are really fit, good running teams, I think. So, that's going to be a really interesting test. I think we saw it late in that quarter, Melbourne chipping the ball around and maintaining possession. Part of the reason was it looked like the Saints had parked the bus to get a breather. So they had all 18 players, behind centre just to, stem the flow, at least limit the damage, limit any sort of damage on the scoreboard and just try and get a breather. You're right, they were tongues out looking for that half-time break. So that challenge is going to come, as we know, as this game goes on, no doubt about it. In terms of individuals, Wanganeen Malera's had 17 possessions. Langdon's looked back to his best self. He's had 16 and really, when they were struggling in that first quarter, I thought really got them going, and a goal as well. And really even sort of midfield. The ruck's a fascinating battle. Marshall's probably just in front at the moment. He's had 14 possessions. It snuck forward a couple of times and wasn't able to hit the scoreboard. But that's going to be interesting, to see whether the Gawn and Grundy tag team can wear him down. And you probably think that Cordy might have been able to help out a bit in the ruck. He's not going to be able to do that anymore as well. So Rowan Marshall, he's a exceptional athlete and thrives on the workload. But that challenge is going to come late as well. Steele and Crouch have been, tough in there, as has Viney, and we spoke about Jordan and Sparrow getting some opportunity as well and doing pretty well. So, really even contest through the middle of the ground. The D's, in terms of their back six, were able to get the game on their terms, how they really like it in that quarter, I think, which is a bit of a worrying side from the Saints because it just, other than that one mistake from May, which resulted in the goal, it just felt like they, any sort of flow to their game. They looked up at times, and part of it's execution, part of it, a couple of over kicks, but geez, 3 or 4 times in a row towards the end there, they looked up and it went straight to Petty, it went straight to May, it went straight to Lever, and that's how Melbourne like to play. We know that. So the Saints coaching staff will be busy on the whiteboard, no doubt, at this halftime break, and see what they can do about that in this second half.
The assessments of Luke Ball and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. The Demons led by 7 points at quarter time. They lead by 13 points at the main break. A high pressure game with plenty of errors, and the Saints with the back against the wall with 2 players down. Just the 2 fit players on the bench, with Max King having been subbed out. Ryan Burns into the action. Unfortunately, Seb Ross a hamstring injury, and Zane Cordy out with concussion. So Melbourne leading by 13 points at the main break. Second quarter action at the Adelaide Oval. The Power have hit the front. They lead 5-3-33 to the Gold Coast Suns 5-2-32. It's raining in the cricket, so they've taken an early lunch break there at Leeds, day 3 for the Aussies. And in the netball, a thrilling final term with scores locked at 50 goals apiece. The New South Wales Swifts coming from behind in the final term, and they've locked things up 10 minutes into the final term. We'll pause for the moment from Docklands to get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Prime Minister has accused the Leader of the Opposition of showing no remorse for the impacts of the robo-debt scheme. The final report into the unlawful debt recovery program was handed down yesterday and made 57 recommendations. At today's LNP conference in Brisbane, Peter Dutton accused Anthony Albanese of politicising the report's findings. But speaking in Rockingham, south of Perth today, Mr Albanese rejected those claims, saying Mr Dutton had no empathy.
Within a couple of hours of receiving it, we released it for all to see. We will consider the recommendations that are in that report in an orderly way. But I'm very disappointed that Peter Dutton can't even bring himself to show any empathy for people at a time like this.
A young Queensland sailor has been winched to safety after his small sailboat struck rough weather in the Great Australian Bight. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority had been coordinating a major search and rescue effort after Xavier Doa sent a distress call 630 kilometres west of Kangaroo Island. Despite 100 kilometres an hour winds and swells of 6 metres, The bulk carrier Theodore JR plucked Mr. Dorr from his stricken vessel this afternoon. The 22-year-old was trying to break several records circumnavigating Australia before he was injured in a storm yesterday, with his boat also damaged. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has visited Snake Island in the Black Sea to mark 500 days since the Russian invasion began. A released video shows him and other officials laying flowers to honour the soldiers who fought to free the island from Russian occupation. He also thanked all those fighting for Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky says the retaken island is proof that Ukraine will regain every part of its territory from Russia. Meantime, the US President Joe Biden says the decision to send cluster bombs to Ukraine was difficult. Cluster bombs are banned by more than 100 countries, although not by the United States, Russia or Ukraine. The munitions drop hundreds of tiny bomblets and have been condemned by human rights organisations. Mr. Biden says he discussed the decision with America's allies.
It's not used in civilian areas. They're trying to get through those trenches and then stop those tanks from rolling. But it was not an easy decision, and we're not signatories to that agreement, but it took me a while to be convinced to do it.
Media in the US state of Texas are reporting that 8 people have been wounded in a shooting at a party. It took place in the city of El Paso near the border with Mexico. The report says the wounded have been taken to hospital, but there's no word yet on their condition. The state of California has given up trying to block the release on parole of one of the members of the notorious Manson gang. Larry Buttrose has the story.
In the northern summer of 1969, Charles Manson's so-called family terrorised the city of Los Angeles in a spate of killings. In August that year, Manson sent his mostly young and female followers to murder 7 people, including actress Sharon Tate, wife of director Roman Polanski, in what prosecutors said was an attempt to incite a race war. At just 19, Leslie Van Houten was the youngest of his followers. Now, after more than 50 years behind bars and 5 failed parole attempts, she's due to be released in weeks. Charles Manson died in prison 6 years ago, aged 83.
One of Central Australia's most popular caravan parks will close from Monday, with operators citing unsustainable costs in maintaining infrastructure and a reliable water supply. Around 450 bookings at Discovery Park's Glen Helen Resort on the Fink River will be impacted, with the park having to currently truck in water. Matt Lang is the Chief Operations Officer and says they have tried their best to keep the property open, however costs are too high.
The water's continued to be a key operational hurdle, and as the occupancies increase throughout the season, it's made the issues with the water amplified. It's cost a lot more to be able to operate the property, and we're really sad that this is happening. We've wanted to keep it open.
And in sport, Brisbane have shored up their position in the AFL's top 4 with an emphatic defeat of West Coast at the Gabba. The Lions led comfortably at every change before finishing 16-20-116 to 5-5-35 winners. Meantime, GWS has moved up to 9th on the ladder after overcoming a gritty Hawthorn side in Sydney. The Giants won 85-72.
Your fortune awaits. Please sit down. You desire connection to your community, to be abreast of events and up to date at all times. In your future, I see the ABC Listen app. I see you up to date with current affairs, politics, and the latest conversations on your local ABC radio station. Your reading is complete. Put that filthy money away. The ABC Listen app is as free as a bird. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Zane Cordy officially ruled out with concussions. That means the Saints are down to 2 on the bench for 2.5 quarters.
Has Jordan running in the space, tries to chip it to his advantage, doesn't have to break stride, can have past a Brown running the boundary line. He's got Melcham in the pocket, pokes it to him. It's been the sub on 4 occasions, swings out on his left, beautiful finish.
Lever marks at half-back there for the D's. Look out, handball to May, run down by Sharman. Spills away to Gresham. The Saints are out. Caminiti. Handball away to Owens. And Owens is taken high. Very lucky, Caminiti. He nearly missed his handball. It was a fresh area on the handball. It was nearly calamity Caminiti. But Owens wins the free kick to save his blushes and get the Saints going again. Owens kicks it. He drives the D's to full forward here. Round over his head. Holding free kick. Sparrow takes the advantage. And the umpire lets him. Sparrow puts it through and the D's get the instant reply.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Docklands in Melbourne. Saturday night footy, it's the Demons leading the Saints by 13 points. A chance to claim fourth spot on the AFL ladder. Tonight, the Demons have it. The Saints could take it with a 10th win for the season. 7-2-44 to the Saints 4-7-31. The Demons with 7 individual goal kickers, while the Saints with their 4 at half-time, 4 individual goal kickers, but 4-7 to Melbourne 7-2 after the D's woes in front of goal last week against GWS. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron calling all the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Luke Ball and Brett Harvey are your experts. The other news of the match has been Max King was subbed out early in the match. Looks like a reoccurrence of his left shoulder injury in the pre-season where he had to wait so long to get back into the senior side. So having missed had to wait till round 10 before he was able to make his debut at AFL level in 2023. And Seb Ross off with a hamstring injury and Zane Cordy out with concussion. So the Saints have 2 fit players on the bench having made their sub. And Joel Smith is the sub for the Demons, yet to be used. In the other match taking place at the moment, approaching halftime there, it's the Gold Coast Suns who lead Port Adelaide. The Power's winning streak on the line here. The Suns 6-2-38 to Port Adelaide 5-3-33, so we'll keep you across that match throughout the rest of the evening. In the earlier matches in the AFL today, it was the Brisbane Lions who had a dominant 81-point victory over the West Coast Eagles. 16-20, 116 to the Eagles, 5-5-35. They kicked 7 goals to 2 in the opening quarter, 10 goals to 2 in the first half, and then 6 goals, 12 to 3 after half-time with 36 shots to 10. Jack Gunston back in with a equal career high 6 goals. What do you make of the decision, Boomer, to bring him back in and get his confidence up against the struggling Eagles?
Well, I didn't mind it. It was a training block, wasn't it? And he didn't go. The other option was to go play VFL.
I think today was the final session.
Yeah, that's sort of, well, a training block, it's not 2 weeks, I can tell you that. Is that what he missed, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, a training block's not 2 weeks. It's 3 or 4 at a bare minimum. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was planned, to be brutally honest with you. He's a smart man, Chris Fagan. You know what? Good on him. If you can bring back a player that's out of form against a struggling team, he's kicked 6. He's filled the boots today.
Yeah. That's perfect.
It's great coaching, and he's going to walk around now tonight with his chest puffed out like he should. He's kicked 6 goals in the AFL game, and he'll be ready to go again next week. So I think it's fantastic coaching.
So Jack Gunston got the AFL return. Daniel Richards headed to the VFL to get his confidence back up. And the Giants had a 13-point win over the Hawks, 12-13-85 to the Hawks, 10-12-72. You were riding the Hawks poorly late. You thought they might be able to run over the top, but Jesse Hogan with 4 goals. In this intriguing sort of logjam of a AFL ladder, all of a sudden the Giants are back in town. So they're in 9th position with 8 wins and 8 losses. Equal with the Bombers on 32 points and a chance to stay inside the finals 8.
Yeah, it gets a bit tougher from here. I think they go to Adelaide to play the Crows next week, and then a few other sort of top 8, certainly, or top 6 teams. But
so they got Adelaide, Gold Coast, Bulldogs, Sydney, Port Adelaide.
Yeah, it looks so destiny in their hands. Yeah, but regardless, I mean, I think it's been a sensational year, and we were talking off air. If they end up with 10, 11, even 12, Adam Kingsley, what a performance. I mean, no one had them above, I don't know, the bottom 4, I don't think, did they, at the start of the year. So what a super performance. And we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. They've only been beaten once by more than 4 goals by Collingwood, who is, we know what they're doing at the MCG, and they ran away from them late. So that's a massive step forward from that team. And the good thing is it's been a mix. It's been, Cornelio's having a super year. He looks back to somewhere, his best, 30 possessions and 3 goals today. Whitfield was back in today, and then the Tom Green and the Callaghan emergence. So there's some really good signs there from the Giants.
Yeah, they've got some really nice pieces. GWS coming through, and they've got some picks too. So it feels like they've been able to create this eternal loop, haven't they, with their top picks and turning them into the next lot as they roll through.
Yeah, so they obviously got Richmond's first pick this year, which is drifting out, isn't it? But you feel like it'd be around the top 10, wouldn't it? So with those two, and there's plenty of talk. We know what they did last year in trading up to the first pick to get young Cadman. So they're going to have no problems in doing that again. And if Harley Reid's their man, I'm sure they'll go pretty hard with those picks at the Eagles.
Well, it's interesting because the Eagles need a lot of picks. They need a lot of players, and they need them quick because They need to turn the list over, but the hype around Harley Reid is so big. They're almost wedged. If they trade away that pick and get in, even if it's 3 first rounders, and Harley Reid turns out to be what everyone's talking about him like at the moment.
How many homegrown talent? There's a couple. There's a tall forward for.
Yeah, there's a few.
WA.
I mean, the WA side in the Carnival isn't going all that well.
Yeah, there is a good one though. The names just escaped me, but there is a good one, and I reckon homegrown talent for the Eagles. I know you shouldn't say that young kids will go home, but we just seen it firsthand at the Kangaroos with Jason Horn-Francis. It's difficult. I would nearly go for weighted numbers, Ben. I know Harley Reid, the hype around him's huge, but I'd nearly go for weighted numbers. I could get 3 in the top, 2 in the top 10, and 1 just outside the top 10.
And 1 10 to 20 or something of the like. You would do it?
I would 100. Yeah. You know what? Eagles will be looking at everything.
Yeah.
Whether they do take Harley Reid, if they finish last, of course, they still might not. The Kangaroos are pretty low on the ladder as well, unfortunately. But I would be looking and exploring absolutely everything, which I think the West Coast Eagles will.
Gold Coast Suns have got a few draft picks. I wonder if they would put them all together and put that on the table if the Eagles are interested in. It's lunch at day 3 from Leeds in Headingley. Rain has prevented any play today, so still the same from the stumps. Score 4 for 116. With Travis Head on 18, Mitch Marsh on 17. Coverage available on the ABC Listen app and on ABC Sport Digital at the conclusion of the football codes.
I'm kind of happy about it. I feel like we're not missing out. We can just focus on the footy and hopefully the rain stops when we get home.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, I haven't left you too long to tell this story, Ben, but what's the story floating around that the Australian cricket team had to defend that Alice Carey went to a hairdresser and didn't pay the bill?
That's about as much of it as I know. So
and this is all coming from our own Sir Alistair Cook as part of our TMS ABC commentary team, who has added a bit of fuel to the fire about the report that Alice Carey went in and got a haircut and didn't pay for the bill.
Alex Carey is just about one of the most honest, upstanding people I've met in my life. I'd put him in the category of Luke Ball. And there's no chance that he didn't pay.
Thanks, Benny.
You too, Boomer.
No worries.
No, chopped liver.
No,
apparently the barber just abused him for 45 minutes and called him a cheat. So he stood up and walked out. That's fair enough.
I'm saying
I'm with Bully.
we're more rat bags. Wally's straight-laced.
You don't have to explain, mate. I'm only joking.
I know.
So the reports are a different Australian squad member visited a local barber who paid for the haircut by international transfer immediately, having walked into the barber not knowing it was cash only. He's planning on going in with a receipt to try and clear up any misunderstanding, but anyway, it's been a bit of a debacle with no cricket to talk about. There's plenty of other stuff taking place.
Seriously?
Even the hairdresser's winch. Come on, guys.
How bad are they going, Bully?
In the Super Netball, it is into extra time in the final between the New South Wales Swifts and the Adelaide Thunderbirds. It's being played in Melbourne. It's a sold-out crowd of 9,622. So the Adelaide Thunderbirds lead 59 goals to 57 after being 54 all at full time. So
huge.
What a thrilling extra time that's going to take place after the full time. So we'll keep you across all of that. And half-time finally arriving at the Adelaide Oval. The bad news is Trent McKenzie is out for the Power with an injury, so they'll have to continue on without him, and the Gold Coast Suns leading by 6 points at half-time there. 6-3-39 to the Power, 5-3-33. Here's Ben Cameron, second half underway.
Melbourne leading by 13 points from the restart. It spills out to Hunter. Handball away to Jordan, to Salem. Handball to Gawn. A fit of the fumbles coming through Viney. He can't take it cleanly either. Eventually it spits out towards the logo. Gawn slaps it out, going after it. There is Jordan. Handball stolen there by Marshall. Handball away. Neil Bullen beelines it. Tackled there by Butler, holding the ball. And the Saints win it back on the dockside wing.
It's an interesting tackle. At the one arm, and unfortunately his head hit the ground, but dropping the ball still.
Butler kicks forward of the wing for the Saints. Gawn coming in from the side. Doesn't mark. Spills to Mitch Owens. Handball out. Viney slaps it away. And Lever can mop up across half-back for the D's. And flare a kick out to Melksham on the wing.
Takes the mark at right half-back for the Demons, who lead by 13 points. Jay Melksham looks further afield. Brodie Grundy is on a long lead. The kick is wide of him. And Tuchel Howard reaches over from the side and spoils it out of play, with the ball having hit the deck first.
Just numbers at the ball. The last contest they hit the ground. Melbourne 3 or 4 numbers. Where St Kilda only had the 1 or 2. Hopefully that's not a trend for this second half with the interchange stuff for St Kilda.
Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. Marshall wins down the tap. Crouch surely tackle when he didn't have the footy. The umpire pays that. And the Saints won't take the advantage this time. They have the two fit players on the bench, so they might have to play a bit of tempo footy in this second half to make sure they don't run out of legs.
Simon Goodman would be happy with the job that Jake Melksham's done on Callum Wilkie. He's been able to kick a goal himself, we know. What's he had, 7 possessions. Wilkie only the 3 marks. So, well, as I say, that is his 4th, but not an intercept mark. So I think that's working out okay for the Demons.
Saints chipping it around across halfback. Short kick from Howard away to Wanganeen Malira. We've really seen the best of Wanganeen Malira this year, averaging 17 kicks per game, rated elite. Kicks forward of the wing here, going up May. Unable to take the mark, spills down. Rivers there for the D's. Handball away around the boundary and out of play. A throw in on the the dockside wing of the ground. Lauren Borden downstairs. I did note just before the third quarter, I think Ben Brown thought he was starting on the ground, Loz, and had to run to the bench just before the start of the third term.
Well, he's come to the bench. They've got plenty of substitutions, Melbourne. They don't have too many worries there. So now he's parking himself on the bench and he's yelling out now at his teammates while he's not on the field.
Webster lays the tackle on Jordan. The ball spills clear. Jack Steele follows up with another big tackle. And the ball is off between wing and half forward for the Saints. Full time, final whistle in the Super Netball Grand Final. The Thunderbirds have won by a goal, 60-59. So having led for a lot of the match, New South Wales Swifts threatening to try and pinch it in extra time. Full wrap coming up in Offsiders on ABC TV, no doubt, tomorrow. As the Saints have it through Jack Sinclair, trailing by 13 points, deep inside the 50. Mitch Owens flew, couldn't take the mark. He lost his opponent. And Bowie with a clearing kick for the Demons. Up towards Spargo. He couldn't hang on to it either. Wanganeen Miller gathers. Hand pass away to Wood for the Saints. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Stephen May's set. And Jake Lever clears everyone out, and he's able to take an uncontested mark as May works it to Salem in the left back pocket. Up to Grundy, who marks it left half back for the Demons.
Grundy feeds a handball forward. Away to Hunter. Handball to the run of Jordan. Has to parry it to his own advantage. Now forward of the wing. Long kick inside 50. Looking for a marker, and Melksham. Melksham's the man to take it. 30 metres out. Worse than a 45-degree angle left half forward.
Ball, I think we've mentioned it 4 or 5 times tonight. When the St Kilda player Mason Wood kicked the ball long and deep inside forward 50, there was 4 Melbourne players. May intercept marks again.
Melksham to become the first multiple goal kicker of the game. Arcs out on his right, bends it back a little too much, hits the post. Rattling into the woodwork. Melbourne's lead out to 14 points, 4 minutes into this third term.
Really liking James Jordan's game. Just works hard, runs hard there for the overlap handball up to 15 possessions. Cozzy Pickett's still just the one handball. I thought we'd see him in the centre bounce, Boomer, to start the second half.
Cal Wilkie trying to find the right option out of defence. He kicks towards Winhager. Petrarca sport it down. Bowie with speed. Tackled, run down. Good follow-up from Billings. The ball spills off hands. And Webster can't keep it in play. So what can Cozzy Pickett do? You'd imagine he pushes higher up the ground.
Yeah, I mean, work rate, I wouldn't say, certainly that's part of it. So he's playing that high half-forward role. And if you've got, it's a tough position, Boom, you played a lot of it. You just got to get on the move, and that's that old saying, the more contest you get to, the more you get. But I think throwing him in the odd centre bounce couldn't hurt. We've seen he's done that this year. He's been involved in a lot of centre bounces, so get him around the footy.
I agree with Bally. Take a centre bounce, charge forward. Even at these stoppages now, sometimes you play like an outrider role, swap with the person that's playing the outrider role, and you get in there and get amongst it.
Number 2 for tackles inside 50. Cozzy Pickett, he gets a third there, which outweighs his disposals. Wanganeen Miller for the Saints on the last line. Hand pass through traffic. Got it to Sinclair. Tackle by Gawn. Ball spills away to halfback. Saints still need to try and clear this here. Winhagen dragged down. Got it to Steele. Away to Webster to Sinclair. All under pressure. May tries to gather. He's grabbed by the arm by Jack Billings. And the umpire said he didn't have the footy. And Stephen May will take it for Melbourne.
May will kick long on his left foot inside 50. Oh, Stocker clattered into by Grundy. Spills to the back. Wanganeen Malira can't get a kick away. Picking it up, Petrarca. Bullocking through. Gets a kick towards full forward. Melksham nearly, not quite. Trying to reel it in one-handed. It spits out to Burns, who runs through a few of them. Runs a long way. And just gets his kick away out to left half back. Mark taken by Billings. Kicks forward of the wing down the city side. And the mark taken by Caminiti.
Caminiti, the Saints fans feel like they've been on the wrong end of a few. He veers out onto the right. Looks to send them long inside 50. No one's there. And Stephen May
I just watched him.
Charges out in front of Owens and takes the mark.
Couldn't have kicked it better to him if it was the full forward. But it was just a hesitation. He had to either roll and go Caminiti and go
a couple of handballs on,
or hold off. Yeah.
So Hunter in the back pocket, works it up to Neil Bullen and now to Brayshaw. Mark centre wing on the broadcast side, has players in the middle of the ground. Salem's the target, spots him up at the edge of the centre square. Salem normally a good user inside 50. Grundy wants it long, he goes shorter, but to Petrarca, tapped it down with his right arm, couldn't complete the mark. Wanganeen Miller lays the tackle, spills the way at Woden, trying to get it back to Petrarca, and the reinforcements arrive. Locking it up 35 metres out from the Demons' goal. Melbourne by 14 points.
And that's the exact play with Caminiti. He's got to do more with the ball. You drop the eyes. We've seen the Melbourne players just all rushing back towards their goal.
Gawn trying to take it out of the ruck. He's quickly tackled by a couple. Crouch extracts it. He'll snap towards the wing. Going up Sharman. Lands in his lap as he lands on the ground. Spills out to Petty though. Handball to Bowie. D's at half forward. Bowie looks into the pocket. Wanganeen Malera gets an important hand in. Breaks it up. Woden coming through. Might have been clipped high. He was. And Taj, the son of the Brownlow medalist Shane, will get the free kick on debut. The mark set 49 metres out. 3 metres in from the boundary line.
ABC's very own. Shane Woden.
Yep.
Hasn't looked out of place, has he?
No, absolutely not.
Taj just sets it up towards full forward. Fisted away. And well through by Mason Wood.
He looks like he reads the play quite well. Puts himself, beautiful kick on him.
Yep.
And it looks like he's a bit of a player.
Melbourne by 15 points, 8 minutes into the third.
Just wait for him to go to peroxide blonde.
He's got the bright orange boots, so we won't miss him tonight. There's Webster in the back pocket for the Saints. Kicks up towards the wing. Owens and Caminiti is there. Stephen May in from the side. 1, 2, 3 bites. Couldn't hang on to it. Spills the way up Brayshaw. Hand pass to Lever. Links up with Sparrow. Hand pass to Jordan to Gordon. Stationary in the middle of the ground. Just got the hand pass away. And now Jordan's brought down by Butler. And he's penalised holding the footy. Sinclair away to Caminiti. They're on downhill. Hand pass to Owens. Back to Caminiti. Salem runs him down. Great dogged chase. And the Saints are charging inside 50, but Melbourne were able to get them at the last moment through Christian Salem.
And they looked up there, and the player who's probably just about to get the ball right now was sitting in the goal square, Ed Langdon.
Spargo goes short laterally. Away to Langdon, who goes back to Spargo. Floats a kick onto the chest of Max Gawn.
Oh, Cossey's out.
He kicks inside 50. Looking for Cossey, finding Petrarca. Petrarca in front, completes it, 40 out. Slightest of angles to the right-hand side.
He was out. Yeah, the kick just fell short. It's in pretty good hands, but that kills you, doesn't it, from the Saints' point of view. They just can't get a deep and good look at goal. And, fantastic run-down tackle, Christian Salem in his 150th game, having a big impact. And the ball goes from one end to the other. The Saints don't touch it. Wasn't pretty, wasn't a great kick to Gawn. And then a scrubber from Gawn, but Petrarca smart enough to be in front first to move.
Going at 26% goal-kicking accuracy this season. Boot the ball from 48. This drop punt is pure. First goal of the second half for the D's. And Petrarca, the first to multiple goals in the match. A couple for Christian. 8-4-52 plays 4-7-31. 10 minutes played, third term grandstand AFL, Luke Ball, Brent Harvey.
Well, normally you'd see him have a lot more of the football. He's only had the 12 disposals. When I say only, it's still a fair game, but he's kicked the 2 goals. So we spoke about that before the game. Is he worth more in the midfield, or is he worth more up forward? He's the first multiple goal kicker today, and he's walking straight back to the centre bounce now. So doing a little bit of both, Paulie. When St Kilda had that ball last and Caminiti was running the goal, they just had no forwards. They worked so hard in defence, the Saints, they just couldn't get back fast enough to help out and try to give themselves something in the offence part of the game.
Boomer Harvey with you on ABC Sport. Melbourne out to their biggest lead of the match with the opening goal of the third quarter that comes at the 11-minute mark. We're going to have a secondary stoppage as Zach Jones can't get away from Angus Brayshaw. Outer of the centre circles, thrown in the air. Gawn up against Marshall, spills down the way of Crouch, trying to get a hand pass forward. There's nowhere to go as Brayshaw lays the tackle on Webster. Demons 8-4-52 to the Saints 4-7-31. Marshall reaches over the top, wins down the tap against Gawn. Crouch's kick was smothered. Zach Jones tries to get a topo. Can't clear Cossie Pickett though. Hand pass picked off by Jones. Hand pass to Marshall through traffic. Kicks out to the far wing. Out in front of Wanganeen Millerer. He's corralled by Jordan, looking for options on the right. Kicks inboard, looking for Gresham. Had to wait a long time. Salem spoils it down. Burns charges onto it. Hand pass forward to Wood. He gathers 45 metres out. Over the top, hand pass to Caminiti. Trying to get it forward to Owens. The Melbourne reinforcement come charging back. McPhee's knocked off it. Salem gathers. Hand pass to Rivers. Kicks a long and clearing kick. Up towards Ben Brown. Up there goes Dougal Howard and spoils it out of play. The Saints have at least got some territory. They're throwing it left half forward for the Saints.
Geez, they got back hard then, didn't they? 4 or 5 of them just charged back. Looked like the Saints had the one over the top and over the top, but just that extra bit of time that it takes for the ball, the loopy ball to get to the teammate. The Demons just swarmed, and great team defence.
Melbourne by 21, 7 of the last 8 goals gone down to Jordan, who gets a kick away to the logo. No one can mark. Sinclair onto it. Saints back the other way. Jones away to Crouch by hand. Crouch inside 50. The kick's a good one. And Billings marks. 35 out, 45-degree angle left-hand side.
Finally get a mark inside 50. Don't know. Good clearance work there. Crouch ducked out the front of the stoppage. Jones involved again. Nice clean hands. And that ends up in the hands of Jack Billings.
First game of the season for Jack Billings. Fractured leg in the pre-season. Hamstring injury in May. Needs a goal here in July. And Jack Billings threads it on his left boot. The Saints recognise what it means. They celebrate with him. And importantly in this match, it draws them back into it. It's back to 15 points. 8-4-52, plays 5-7-37, 13 minutes into the third term.
Well, the only way I see the Saints scoring is pretty much from a play like that, from a stoppage around the middle of the ground or from a slow play. I think in the quick play now, they get so high up the ground, and when they turn the ball over, there's nobody to kick to. We've seen a couple of times Gresham being one-on-one, but are they going to kick to a small? With the 2 on the interchange, right about now, with about 9 minutes to go, the third quarter is where they're going to start hurting. So I think they might see, or when the Saints score, that's how they're going to score. Won't be off real quick play anymore.
Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. Luke Ball, Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron and Lauren Borden back in the middle. Bounce favoured Marshall, not recalled. He does the roving as well. Kicks up towards half forward. Sinclair, Butler in front, couldn't take the mark. Bowie lays the tackle, spills to Petrarca. Tackle by Jones, forced the turnover. Burns inside 50. Caminiti on the lead, but behind him the mark is taken. Cooper Sharman rises and claims the mark. Not intended for him, but good awareness to take the mark.
Well, it was an amazing kick by Burns, but he dropped the vision.
Yeah.
He still dropped the vision, and the players came forward to the ball and hit up at him. So much better against the Melbourne defence when they've got to defend and not just sit back and May, who's had 8 marks already, just sit there and intercept all night.
3 goals, 2 this season for the 2021 mid-season pickup. In his 3rd year for quick goals in succession for the Saints. He comes in, likes it the moment he hit it. Straight through the middle. And the Saints have 2 goals in 2 minutes to pull back within 9 points. The Demons 8-4-52 to St Kilda 6-7-43. 15 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's spot on, Boomer. That's the method, isn't it? It's the only way that you feel like they're going to score. And you know, that was a centre bounce clearance. So again, they had the even numbers ahead of the ball.
It's a bit slower.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. And it was I think the kick was meant for Caminiti, but Sharman playing in front, as good forwards do, and Petty giving him just enough rope. He's looked pretty dangerous, actually, Sharman, doesn't he? When he can launch at the ball like that, we know he can really clunk it. That was a beautiful kick for goal too. So 2 in a row for the Saints. Breathed a bit of life back into this game.
Bounce back in the middle. Grundy hooking it down. Toe poking it on there, Crouch, but picking it up is Sparrow for the D's. Left-footed kick towards half forward through the hands of Sinclair. Getting back Steele. There to clean up for the Saints. Handball to Burns. Handball to Stocker. Off the defensive 50. A kick to the wing. Rivers hands to it. Can't mark. And out of play it goes for a throw-in. Alongside the interchange gates. Third term, St Kilda's best in 2023. They've won 11 of them. Kicked the last 2 goals of the game here, Melbourne by 9.
Toss back in, Grundy wins down the tap to Sparrow, sends Melbourne high inside 50, Brown's outnumbered, spoiled down towards Grundy, can't get a disposal away, steals onto it for the Saints, bangs it up the wing, Petty spoils it down against Cooper Sharman, spills the way of Rivers, out past to Bowie, chips a kick to Viney, takes the mark just in front of the two benches. Possession number 15 coming up for Melbourne's spiritual leader, back inside the corridor to half back to Petty. And all the way back to Lever, who's got 20 metres on his own inside the defensive 50. Kicks it out to right half back. McVie marks. He can chip it forward to Stephen May. So just playing tempo footy, gives it back to McVie. Butler offers chase, sends it long towards half forward. Up goes Melcham. Can't take the mark. Spoiled down by Stocker. Sinclair slides in. Tackled by Petrarca. Umpire circles and will ball it up. Right half forward for the Demons, who lead by 9 points. 17 minutes gone, third term. Second half underway at the Adelaide Oval. A goal for the Power and scores are locked at 39 apiece.
Clearing kick from Crouch. Tumbles the Saints to the logo. Caminiti coming up at it. Knocks it down to Wood, who handballs it out to Sinclair. Left foot tumbler towards half forward. Petty fists it away. Straight to the boundary and out of play for a throw-in. So a throw-in between wing and half forward. Harry Petty and the Petty family already winners tonight. His sister Hannah, the captain of the triumphant Thunderbirds in the Super Netball final. Melbourne by 9 points here.
First title in a decade. There'll be celebrations for the Adelaide girls tonight. Cosy Pickett will get a free kick, so he'll get a disposal here. Having slid in down low, his first kick of the match, coming at the 18-minute mark of the third term. And two hand passes before that. Finds Petrarca at right half forward. Long kick inside 50. Melcham with the fly. Can't come down with it on the back of Dougal Howard. Wilkie's hand pass to Jones. Hand pass under pressure to Winhagen. He bangs it out of defence. Looking for Marshall. Lucky took the mark in front of Sparrow. I'm not sure it was all that well directed, but in the end it found a teammate.
He goes back to Sinclair, who goes to Hunter. Drops the mark. Has to toe poke it away. Fortunately straight to Burns. Gives it back to Butler. Burning down the wing. Kick charge down by May. Well done. Ricochets for the D's to Petty. To Bowie, who turns Jones. Kicks inside 50. Pickett goes up behind him. Howard. Defensive mark for the Saints.
He does that once a game, doesn't he, Pickett? Flies and touches nothing other than the player's shoulders.
Not the highest percentage, although Stocker's turned this straight over for the Saints. Spargo takes the mark at the edge of the centre square at half forward. Melbourne leading by 9 points. They got out by 21 points early in this third quarter. Spargo wheels out on the right, long towards Melcham, a 2-on-1. And Dougal Howard takes the mark uncontested. Although he played on, smothered away by Petrarca. He's back into it, gets it to Melcham, who tries to volley it and puts it out on the full.
No,
the free kick is coming back. Melbourne's against Christian Petrarca for a hold.
It's 50 metres though, so Petrarca's come from behind the man on the mark. I know who had the ball. Was it Dougal Howard?
Yeah.
He comes off his line to take one step to kick the ball, but Petrarca's still already in the protecting zone.
The umpire hasn't called played on by the time he does that.
It's 50 metres.
He must have adjudicated that he did call play on. But even if it's instantaneous, you're right. They have relaxed that a bit, Boom Up. You're right. Shouldn't be able to roll around the back of the player like that. Got away with one.
I reckon I've seen that 3 times this weekend.
Melbourne by 9 points. Saints chipping it around inside D50 and Cal Wilkie receives it. Rolls onto his left. Long kick towards the wing. There's a whistle. Free kick going to Machito Owens. He gives it off to Gresham. Kicks the Saints towards Marshall. He's in between 3 Ds. May almost threw it out. Knocked it out according to the umpire. Grundy gets it on. Now Viney kicks them forward of the wing. He'll pull and marks.
He looks for options inside 50. Has Brown and Petrarca. Goes for Brown. 2-on-1. Petrarca does the crumbing. Runs into the goals. Snaps on his right to put through his third. Saints fans aren't happy. They feel like they've had a couple of tough calls against them. But Christian Petrarca deadly at ground level. He's kicked his third and Melbourne are back out by 15 points. 9-4-58 to the Saints 6-7-43. 20 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. The Demons once more have opened up a gap.
Well, he's going to be the match winner, isn't he? He's already hit the scoreboard 3 times tonight and done most of his damage up forward. He's a star, whether he's in the middle or he's up up forward. He does something all the time, Paulie.
Petrarca at that end. May's been involved in everything, hasn't he, at this end? And he probably got away with one there, a little throw.
Yeah,
the umpire was blindsided, but he was the one that stopped that forward thrust from the Saints, as he did here before when he came forward and affected the smother. So having a massive impact on the game, Stephen May.
9 intercept possessions for Stephen May from his 21 disposals.
2 goals apiece in the third term. Gawn takes it out of the ruck, spirals it inside 50. Low down, Brown can't mark. Webster knocks it out to Wanganeen Malira, slaps it on Steele, loses it under pressure. Sinclair comes through, handball errant, picked up by Brayshaw. High kick inside, attacking 50, crashing the pack there. Howard, he can't mark. Soccering it off the deck, Brown. Cleverly to Grundy. Grundy keeps it moving. The Saints get back. They're there in numbers. Still a live footy though. Melksham picks it up, tackled by Steele. Dragged to ground and a ball up to come. 20 out from the attacking goal for the D's. They lead by 15, 22 into the third.
Free kick going the way of Jack Steele, who'll take it 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Goes short to Gresham. Thought about the hand pass around the back, now decides against that. He switches off a couple of steps, gets underneath it, and Carl Wilkie takes the mark. An incredible consecutive run continues on, 101 consecutive games. As the Saints work it to left half back, Billings gets involved. Down low is kick for Rowan Marshall, who marks in front of Max Gawn on the outer side wing. Melbourne by 15 points, comes back inboard with a kick to Wilkie.
This is where they might just need a breather here, Boomer. It's been a pretty frenetic quarter again, so two on the bench. Just take the extra couple of minutes here, give everyone a breather, see if you can reload for that last quarter.
You're spot on. It's been a brave effort by the Saints to date, so if they can hang in there and give themselves a chance in this last quarter.
It might be one. We'll go down to Laws in a moment. Marshall's long kick towards Filippo. Can't take the mark. Spills away a steal. The captain feeds off the hand pass. Away to Billings. Jams it on goal and misses to the left-hand side. Some late pressure from Petty. Just put him off his kick. And misses to the left-hand side. Through for a minor score. Melbourne by 14. Lauren Borton on the boundary.
Well, it's Liam Stocker now. He's on the bench getting his left ankle restrapped, so the doctors aren't even taking him down to the rooms. They're just doing it here on the bench.
Would have liked the skipper just to put that one through, Bally. I reckon he had a chance. He was shoulders out, facing goal. No need for the extra handball.
May goes up the middle. Gawn knocks it down. It bounces back to Webster for the Saints. Handball to Wanganeen Malira. Kick lateral towards the boundary. Gathered there by Burns, who dumps it on the boot. And it lands in the lap of Steele. High half forward for the Saints. What can the skipper muster? Side trailing by 14 points. Sets it up into the pocket. Big pack forms. Gawn hands on it. Salem at ground level. Picks it up. Handball knocked down there by Billings. Bowie steals it though. Handball back to Salem. Wants it to go out. Walks it out. Umpire says that's okay. Throw it in.
Disguised it with a little fake kick. It was nice.
Yeah.
I liked it.
4:50 stoppage here for the Saints. Late in this third term. 2 goals apiece in it. Melbourne by 14.
Thrown back in. Gawn was able to get rid of Kamamidi in the ruck. Gathered and kicked up towards half-back. Brown couldn't take the mark. Spills away Neil Bullen. Burns slides in for the Saints. Wins it. Hand pass to Marshall. To Gresham. To Jones in tight confinement. Tackled. Lost it. Ball spills clear. Neil Bullen won the free kick. Viney takes the advantage. Kicks up to Pickett. He marks in front of the bench. Trying to work it inboard. Winhager took the mark and played on. Tackled by Brayshaw. Does all his good work. Hand pass to Steele. Links up with Webster to Wanganeen Miller. It's under all enormous pressure. And Spargo wins it back for Melbourne. Middle of Docklands. Hand pass to Sparrow to Salem. Hand pass out to Rivers on the broadcast wing. Links up with Hunter. Here's a shocking kick. Marshall got a hand onto it, but then his tackle was over the shoulder. Trying to link up Jack Viney in desperation. And Viney quickly takes it further afield.
Hunter then receives the handball. Kicks into the pocket. Coming across Webster. Hisser with his left hand hard out of play. And a throw in left forward pocket here for the D's.
Both teams making blues, aren't they? Last 10 minutes of this quarter. Will Cozzy Pickett here get on the move?
He's trying to get in the dishwasher. Umpire flings it back in. Gawn takes it out of the ruck. Tries to get it on the boot. Little 5-metre kick to Spargo. Out to Brayshaw. Brayshaw on his left. High ball floats towards the goal line. Called for a throw, I think. It's coming back. It was a throw from Cozzy Pickett, so the free kick going to Zach Jones. Saints with it. Melbourne by 14 points. Jones stabs it short to Steele. Disposal number 10 of this third term coming up for the Saints captain. Gives it off to Windhager, wheeling around the back.
Up towards Caminiti and Owens. May and Gawn in the pack. Hand pass forward looking for Crouch. He tries to clear a path for Jones. Hand pass to Billings at centre half forward to Wanganeen. Miller at court stationary. Kicks inside 50. No one's there for the Saints, and Rivers takes the mark for the Demons. 40 metres out from his defensive goal. Up to Gawn in a mismatch with Burns. Shoved him underneath. Gawn takes the mark. Releases Brayshaw. Looks up. Petrarca on the lead. He marks it in the left forward pocket. Right on 50, veers onto the right, goes towards Grundy off a goal. Grundy against two, off his head it goes through for a minor score. Wonder whether Christian Petrarca had the journey.
Yep.
In hindsight, Melbourne lead by 15 points.
The pressure this quarter from Melbourne's been pretty good, Bally, but I feel like St Kilda are inviting it. That extra handball that they're given, a couple of players have been facing goal or shoulders out, whatever you want to call it, and they're just not kicking the football.
Windhager with a long ball to the wing, looking for Phillippo. In front, Gawn. Able to drop his mark to ground level. He's tackled out, gets a bit of attention. He doesn't like it. Jack Steele and Max Gawn going at it. The two captains.
Throw it in, he says.
Yeah, the umpire does so quickly. No one's the assigned ruck, or maybe Neil Bullen was. He fists it forward. It comes to Sparrow. Driving ball to full forward. Grundy's there. Brown's there at the fall of the ball. So too Wilkie. Clever little kick. It repels for the Saints as Burns marks in the back pocket.
Looks to send the Saints up to the wing. Mitch Owens the target. Siren sounds as Stephen May spoils it away. Slanted a bit awkwardly, May, as he gingerly makes his way to the Melbourne huddle. And the Demons hold a 15-point advantage at three-quarter time. 9-5-59 to the Saints 6-8-44. It was once more a quarter played largely on Melbourne's terms. They had 17-10 inside 50s, but it was 2 goals apiece. And Melbourne's 2 goals came through Christian Petrarca. He has 3 for the match. Individuals to Hunter, Langdon, Melcham, Neil Bullen, Sparrow and Brown. Meanwhile, for the Saints, their goals have come through Gresham, Steele, Owens, Wood and Sharman. Three-quarter time at Docklands. It's Melbourne who lead by 15 points. At the Adelaide Oval, 14 minutes gone in the third term. The Power have booted 4 goals to 1 in the third term to open up an advantage there. They're 9-5-59 to the Gold Coast Suns 7-3-45. And in the Super Netball, the grand final taking place tonight. It went to extra time. And the Adelaide Thunderbirds are the champions. The first time in a decade they've won the title, 60-59. Great to have your company on Saturday Night Footy on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The Australian goldfields were a tough place for women. But for these two sisters,
This is a bloke's toilet.
Well, your objection has been noted.
it's a wealth of opportunity.
So what's the plan? Well, we're going to find rich, dumb husbands. Preferably old, so they die soon.
If they can escape their past.
Stop it, it's me! You are mistaken. I am from Paris.
New ABC comedy, Gold Diggers.
Eureka! Just kidding.
Starts Wednesday, July 5 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Kerr intercepts, dribbles into the area, Kerr strikes, the Aussie captain scores! Sam Kerr puts the ball into the back of the net.
The 2023 Women's Football World Cup starts July 20 on ABC Sport.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
He kicks inside 50, looking for Cozzy, finding Petrarca. Petrarca in front, completes it 40 out, going at 26% goal-kicking accuracy this season. Boots the ball from 48. This drop punt is pure. First goal of the second half for the D's. Jones away to Crouch by hand. Crouch inside 50. The kick's a good one. And Billings marks. First game of the season for Jack Billings. Fractured leg in the pre-season. Hamstring injury in May. Needs a goal here in July. And Jack Billings threads it on his left boot.
Burns inside 50. Caminiti on the lead. But behind him the mark is taken. Cooper Sharman rises and claims the mark. But quick goals in succession for the Saints. He comes in, likes it the moment he hit it. straight through the middle. And the Saints have 2 goals in 2 minutes to pull back within 9 points. He looks for options inside 50, has Brown and Petrarca, goes for Brown, 2-on-1, Petrarca does the crumbing, runs into the goals, snaps on his right to put through his third.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
3/4 time at Docklands in Melbourne. 4th spot on the AFL ladder is up for grabs. The Demons 9-5-59, leading the Saints by 15 points, 6-8-44. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden's down on the boundary. Brent Harvey and Luke Ball are your experts on ABC Sport. The Saints are undermanned with Max King having been subbed out of the match in the opening quarter with a shoulder injury. Seb Ross also out with a hamstring injury and Zane Cordy out with concussion. So Liam Stocker getting his ankle restrapped in that third quarter. They had one fit player on the bench, but they're hanging around as best they can, Bally.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? It still hangs over the game a bit, doesn't it, Boomer? How that'll affect them late in this last quarter. But they're close enough if good enough. And the good enough is, can they have the composure and the ability to execute that last kick inside 50. They've had enough looks across the night, we know that, and bar for that first 15-20 minutes, it's really been on Melbourne's terms in the way that that back six has controlled the game. A couple of times that quarter when it was out of a centre bounce, they were able to lower their eyes and affect a mark inside 50 for the 2 goals, but other than that, it's been pretty dominant from Stephen May as this game's gone on, and in particular, and then they've been able to get them out the back the other way, the Demons, to hold this lead.
And he's one of the 2 players that have really changed the game. But May down now, 9 marks I think he's taken now, and the other guy up forward who we were debating whether he's best in the midfield or best up forward tonight, he's kicked 3 goals, Christian Petrarca. So they got one up each end of the ground, whereas the Saints have been brave, Bully. They've been really brave. I thought that quarter, though, they just invited the pressure from Melbourne a little bit more than what they should have. When somebody's facing goal, let's use our legs, let's kick the football. But, as you mentioned, they play better football when they drop their eyes. And they're down to 2 rotations, as we already mentioned. They've got to play a slightly different style. They can't go all guns blazing. They're going to have to hold the ball up and then drop the eyes. Make Melbourne defenders defend. 38 inside 50s each, so it's been pretty even. Melbourne have got themselves right back in that contest tonight in the inside 50s in that quarter. So, going to be really, really fascinating to see what minute mark the Saints are actually blowing, and they need another rotation, unfortunately, they can't have. So hopefully for the Saints, they can kick the first one and make a really good game of this one.
What do you do with the sub, with your Simon Goodwin, with Joel Smith? Do you bring him on? Just the fresh legs, and just hopefully the weight of numbers will win out the end. Which end do you put him? I mean, you wouldn't say that there's too many issues behind the ball, is there? Can you throw him forward?
Well, he's a natural forward, so that would
add him and try and create a bit more of a headache with his athleticism forward of the ball.
Maybe it is a Cozzy Pickett, who no one would have thought gets subbed off. He's only had 4 disposals. Jimmy Webster's been unbelievable on him. So
can I throw a left of centre suggestion to you?
Always.
Would they contemplate putting Joel Smith on and putting Stephen May forward just for a look for a quarter?
No, I don't think at this stage right now. I don't think you want to, because if that doesn't come off, Clinchy, someone's going to punch it right between the eyes.
Asked and answered like the silly question it was. Melbourne by 15 points at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide have taken control there with 5 goals to 1 in the third quarter. They're 10-5-65, leading the Suns 7-4-46. And it's still raining in Leeds, day 3 of the third test between Australia and England. So coverage maybe perfectly on the ABC Listen app after the footy codes tonight. Into the final term we go. Melbourne by 15 points. Marshall has had a huge game. Tries to get the clearance. Hand pass to Steele. Kicks inside 50. And Mason Woods beaten by Stephen May once again. There he is, another mark. 10 marks to the match. His kick, though, is out on the full. So maybe he is human and he turns it over. The Saints will take it back. Centre wing.
Looks like Mason Woods gone forward to play on Stephen May.
Burns with the kick. Gets around the man on the mark. Grundy launching into footy defensively. Can't take the mark. And quickly the Saints apply the tackles. Or the tackle, a couple of them tackling to force the ball up. 35 out. Here from their attacking goal. Grundy laying it down. Gresham onto it though. Shovels out a handball. Steele to Burns on the attacking arc. Filippo away to Billings. Back to Burns. Back to Filippo. Sidestepping Petrarca. Gets a handball away and Salem clears it on his left boot. For Melbourne though, Webster marks.
feel like if the Saints get the first, that would be big as he comes inboard to Stocker, back onto the field. Takes the mark. So the Saints with 2 fit players back on the bench. Not his best kick, but Wilkie has time to gather the dribbling ball at centre half back. Out to Winhager. Melbourne have everyone behind the halfway mark of the ground, so Winhager will have to try and find an option out wide. Caminiti presents in from the side. Petty spoils it down. Caminiti's back onto it first. Hand pass to Zach Jones. Petty still down. Hand pass to Sharman. Kicks inside 50. Up goes Marshall. Can't take the mark. Billings gathered. Tackle by Salem. Hand pass back to Gresham. To Zach Jones through 50. Hand pass to Wood. To Wanganeen Millerer. He links up with Winhagen. Edge of the centre square. A wobbling kick inside 50. Stephen May there again. He is the rock in which the Saints cannot pass.
Where's Mason Wood? He's 30 metres ahead of where he should be. If that's going to be the role for this quarter, Mason, and he played a lot of footy forward, Boomer, at your old club.
Yep.
You just can't get sucked up to the contest, sucked up to the ball. Stephen May will be where the ball comes to. Just stand with him.
Hunter in the back pocket, runs around the boundary, kicks long to the wing. Nobody's able to mark it. Jordan there for the D's. Handball to Sparrow, handball towards Pickett. He can't pick it up. Saints can. Gresham somehow gets a kick away. Viney can't trap it. Handball knocked away by Jones. Inside 50 go the Saints. He tumbles on top of it. And McVee's on top of him. Comes out. Umpire says play on. Caminiti got away with it. Handball out there by Billings. And again the D's are there. And guess who? Stephen May with a clearing kick towards the wing.
Up towards Spargo. Winhager over the top, spoils it down. Neil Bullen swoops onto it. Good clean pickup. Hand pass to Jordan. Tackled by Wanganeen Millerer. He turns it over, wins a free kick for holding the ball. Wants to take it quickly, goes short to Gresham. Between wing and half forward. Now Jordan came cutting in behind, chasing Wanganeen Millerer. That probably should have been 50 as well. Not paid. Gresham on the right, inside 50. Wood comes charging out and takes the mark on his chest. Petty trying to reach over and get a fist in there, and I don't think Mason Wood was all that impressed with the contact to the head. Gets up and gives him a bit of a shove as he goes back to take his shot on goal.
That was a decent mark there, wasn't it? Just a one-on-one. A little bit of show of strength from Mason. Good body position. This is the game. This is the part of the game where he wasn't amazing at. Left foot field kick, really good, but shots on goal. A little bit of work to do. Hopefully he can put this one through and put a bit of scoreboard pressure on the D's.
Stephen May was nowhere to be seen. Mason Wood to try and breathe life into the Saints. It's out to the left. And right as Brent Harvey predicted, not the right angle for him. And couldn't work it left to right. First behind of the final term, the way of the Saints. The margin is 14 points. Melbourne's way through 4 minutes.
May stabs a kick in short to Salem. And moves it on to Lever, left back pocket. Melbourne by 14 points. 4 minutes into the fourth. Lever driving long to the wing. Through the pack it goes. Windhager at the back. He's tackled by Grundy. Handball away to Webster. Coming through for the D's. There is Spargo. It spits out in the end for Marshall, who dribbles a kick back to Wanganeen Millerer. He's able to get it off to Crouch. Crouch nowhere really to go, so has to kick a high ball to the wing. Underneath it, Marshall. Good mark for the Saints. Plays traffic cop and gesticulates strongly at his teammates.
Play good, Marshall. That's his 24th possession.
Switches it back to Wilkie, who takes the mark at left half back and poker kick over the top. And the Saints look to work it forward. Stocker short to Cooper Sharman. They still have it at left half back. Options in the middle of the ground if he's brave enough. Sharman tries to sidestep Petty. Gain another 5 metres. Sends it up towards Mitch Owens. In a wrestle with Lever. Clears to the back. Gresham trying to keep it alive. Hand pass to Owens. Tackled by May. Lost it. Umpire waves play on and May shoved out of play. And a boundary throw in. Lauren Borton on the boundary.
Harrison Petty's just linked himself to the boundary line. Obviously, he was injured 2 or 3 minutes ago, holding his mid-drift a little bit. So he's coming and talking to 2 doctors on the bench, but looks in a lot of pain.
Still Melbourne by 14. Umpire brings it in. Grundy lays it down straight to Sparrow, wrapped up by Marshall. Strong tackle and another ball up. Half forward here for the Saints. Can they get this opening goal of the final term? Picking it up, Viney after the ruck tap. Gives it off to Jordan, hooking across the body around this broadcast wing. Wilkie drops a mark he might have otherwise taken. Able to get it to Windhager, who kicks back inside 50. Look out, Stocker gathers, evades Petrarca, does well in the end, gets it off to Howard. And the Saints should work it out as Wilkie snaps, but turns it over. Mark taken by Brayshaw.
He looks up towards half forward, has Neil Bullen short over the top. Tashwa Woden's running the boundary, feigns the hand pass, cuts back in on his left. Chips looking for Spargo, charging in from the side. Dougal Howard takes the mark. Can the Saints go here? Short to Crouch, takes a bounce at centre half back, tries to send it long towards Owens. He flies against Lever. Lever hits the ground. Owens kept his footing, racing back McGee. McVie knocks it to May, then back to McVie. They do this so well. Hand pass to May and now to Viney. He sends it out to the southern wing, looking for Ben Brown or Hunter. Hunter can't take the mark. Burns gets it forward to Marshall, who pulls his kick. Inboard to Sinclair. Between wing and half forward. Pokes the kick inside 50. There's two Saints there.
There we go.
Caminiti and Mason Wood. And Wood takes the mark pretty much directly in front, 50 out from home.
You can see them, Bully. They had three St Kilda players lining up at about 45 out, and the Melbourne players were all defensive side of him. That's where you've got to drop the eyes. It's an easy kick. Sinclair, read the cues. Beautiful kick.
Smart
well
kick,
done.
Yeah, smart kick from Marshall too, to come inboard to Sinclair. So get it in the hands of your good users.
1-1 for Mason Wood tonight. He gets another look at it to try and drag the Saints back into it. He sets fly. It's out to the right. And it's out of play and through for a behind, just up against the right behind post. So two behinds for the Saints to start the final term, but it's Melbourne who lead by 13 points. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
So Harrison Petty has actually been subbed off and Joel Smith is just getting ready to come on now, so we'll chase up what's actually wrong with Petty.
Salem with the kick in, runs into the back pocket. High kick out to the wing. Marshall goes up. High points it. Takes a strong overhead mark. Now Marshall can send it back inside 50. Mays in the pack. Over the back it goes. Bowie there for the D's at fullback. Handball to Rivers. Nearly runs into trouble. Good kick on the left. Away to Spargo at right half back. So Spargo for the D's. They lead by 13. Spargo pinpoint to Viney. Runs into Steele. Steele's got him. Viney just gets a handball away. And Spargo arrives in the nick of time for the D's.
Hand pass to Sparrow, fence off Crouch. Hand pass to Langdon, back to Rivers, turns it over. Kicks it straight to Cal Wilkie, who marks on his chest. Left half back. Melbourne by 13 points. Inboard he comes with a kick to Stocker. Takes the mark in front of Christian Petrarca. Leading goal scorer on the ground with 3. Works it back inside the defensive 50 to Webster. Now out to Gresham, looking for options on the outer wing. Nothing off on offer. So chips it back to Marshall. Barely 15. Hand pass to Gresham. Works it around the boundary line. Little fumble from Burns. Ball stays in for the moment, although Gresham's hand pass didn't do Marshall too many favours. It's knocked forward to Brown. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Melbourne might make them pay. Melcham inside 50. Takes the mark in the left forward pocket. Just had a metre or so on Jimmy Webster. Got Petrarca 1-on-1 inside the goal square. He'll shoot from 45 metres out, Jake Melcham. With 1 goal, 2 next to his name. He killed a beautiful shot from the opposite forward pocket. This is the left-hand side. A sub on so many occasions for Melbourne this season. Jake Melcham steps out, snaps across his body, and another superb finish. Melbourne with the first goal of the final term. Despite the Saints' efforts to start this final term with 2 behinds, and the Demons lead by 19 points. As Jake Melcham kicks his second, the Demons 10-5-65 to the Saints 6-10-46. 10 minutes gone, final term. Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, approaching three-quarter time now. The Power have kicked clear 7 goals to 1 in the third term. They're 12-5-77 to the Gold Coast Suns 7-4-46.
Well, Bally, the Saints just mucked around the ball off.
Not pretty, is it?
No, it wasn't. I mean, Marshall was getting in the chain there, and he's had 28 touches, but he had 3 touches in that little passage of play where they went left, right, back to left, and back to right, and end up stuffing up the handball from, I think it was Gresham and Burns maybe on the other side of the ground, but they had opportunities to drop the eyes and go inside 50, so it was a little bit disappointing from the Saints just there, but they might have spent their tickets. They might be out of tickets.
Umpire lays it down in the middle. The Saints get it through Sinclair. Forward handball to Crouch. Forward handball to Sinclair. To Steele. Attacking edge of the square. Kicks towards full forward. No mark taken. Coming through Butler. Off to Owens. Jams it on the boot and a goal. They're not done with yet, the Saints.
Nice
Back
finish.
to 13 points. 10-5-65, plays 7-10-52. Owens second at the 12-minute mark of this final term.
That was another centre clearance ball. You get the ball in at 6. The rule says it's 6 on 6. So you know that you get it in there, you're going to give your forwards a chance. But it was a beautiful finish by Owens. What it was like a little right foot banana. Really nice opportunist goal.
Yeah, it's hard work, isn't it, for both teams to score at the moment. That's why even you hear the crowd and it's only 13 points, but hard to generate that sort of excitement and get any real momentum to put real pressure on. But yeah, you're right, you get it out of the centre. It's both teams' best chance at the moment, because in general play it's really hard Yakka getting a good opportunity to score.
It sort of feels like Melbourne are 5 goals in front, yet it's only 13 points. And the Saints are yet to give up. Petrarca into the middle, gets the clearance, links up with Gawn. Hand pass to Jordan, inside 50. Tajway Woden on Naboo. Just misses to the right-hand side. He was almost about to break out in celebration with Alex Neil-Bullen. Just the wrong side of the right goalpost. And no doubt his family and his dad Shane, of course, part of our team, would have just about had the camera fixed on for the celebration.
Well, they're all here. They made the journey across the Nullarbor. His older brother, I think, came down from Brisbane. I think his 2 sisters, his mum and his dad over from Perth. We can see shots of them in the stands at the moment. Oh, so nearly.
Is that more than your 26 tickets for tomorrow, Boomer?
Yeah, we might have snuck in a few more too.
Good.
Nice.
Webster goes long towards the wing for the Saints. No one able to mark it. At the back, May for the D's. Handball to Jordan. Handball to Salem. From the logo, kick to half forward. Bouncing ball. Burns back there for the Saints. Handball away to Wilkie. Wilkie short kick towards Owens. Oh, he spills it. Allows in the D's. Woden goes in here. And a winner free kick. So Woden with it. Just forward of the wing here for the D's. They lead by 14. 13 minutes into the fourth.
Possession number 11 on Naboo. Kicks towards Cosy Pickett. Trying to clear a path against Wilkie. Wilkie regathers. Gets the hand pass away to Webster. Saints clear to half back. Big fly from Cooper Sharman. In fact, it was Caminiti who couldn't hang on to it. Salem sends Melbourne back inside 50. Wanganeen Miller in from the side, but the mark is taken by Sparrow in front position. Slightly left of centre. He'll kick on a 45-degree angle from around 50 metres out.
This will take all the sting out of the game, no doubt. But this is right now. The Saints are spent, Bally. The Saints are spent. You can see with their ball movement, they're not being brave like they probably should be. When they look at the scoreboard and see themselves, 2.5 goals down, they're not being brave enough with their ball movement, as probably because they've got no petrol tickets left.
Got 7 individual goal scorers, in which Tom Sparrow is one. Looking for his second, comes in from right on 50. Through it goes. Melbourne have all the answers to the Saints challenge, and it's back out to a 20-point margin. Tom Sparrow with his second. The Demons 11-6-72 to the Saints 7-10-52. And at some stage you think it has to become psychological as much as physical, despite the Saints' best efforts with just 2 fit players on the bench.
Well, it was a drop mark, wasn't it, from Mitch Owens, really, who's a safe pair of hands, uncontested mark in the end, and that caused the direct turnover and the direct opportunity to go down the other end. And nice finish from Tom Sparrow there's still plenty of time, but just the way this game's playing out and the difficulty that the Saints are having in scoring, it's going to be tough. But he's had a good day, isn't he, Tom Sparrow? 20 possessions to go with his 2 goals.
Interesting to note, at the Adelaide Oval, Ben King has been subbed out of the game. So both King twins subbed out in 2 separate games taking place at the same time. Bizarre. Saints with the clearance towards half forward. Butler unable to mop it up there, and now the D's are away through Salem. Down the City wing they go. Hunter handballing it into the advancing opponent's leg there of Windhager. Thought he might have won a free kick, not to be. Throw in on the wing. Melbourne by 20. Quarter hour mark of this final term.
3/4 time in that game at the Adelaide Oval. 43 points Port Adelaide's way. A 9-goal-to-1 third term, and Zach Butters and a few of the Port Adelaide players letting the Suns players know about it as they head to their separate huddles. So the streak will continue for Port Adelaide. Melbourne leading by 20 points in the final term here. Gawn rises over the top, wins down the tap. Sinclair's onto it though for the Saints. Breaks the Woden tackle. Kicks towards half forward. Good mark taken by Trent Rivers. He's able to reel in the mark against Billings. Sends it out to Brayshaw and marks it left half back. City side of the ground, comes inboard and finds Jordan. Melbourne 11-6-72 to St Kilda 7-10-52 as Jordan turns boundary side. And the mark is taken by Bowie. It's going to come laterally to Stephen May, leading possession getter, or equal leading possession getter on the ground with 28, alongside Wanganeen Miller. Stephen May with 12 marks, and the majority of them have been intercept marks. Back to Salem and then all the way back to Bowie, who marks at left half back.
Jake Bowie tucks under his arm, goes for a little run and then kicks along in the Gawn direction. Grundy there too, both with hands on it. Woden front and square. Handball away to Hunter. Hunter on his left leg, inside 50. Brown, he marks just in the field of play. 25 metres out. Given it was just in the field of play, deep in the left forward pocket.
Nice hands from young Woden, wasn't it? He's clean. You can tell he's a footballer. I mean, that was his dad's goal, wasn't it, too? Just a really smart footballer, gets to the right spots. And yeah, he's in the 11 possessions, but I feel like most of them have been constructive, haven't they, and have led to something.
A 40-metre snap from Big Bad Ben Brown. He hits the post and rattles it around as well. Swaying down there at the Coventry end of the ground.
Hair's starting to grow back, isn't it, Benny?
Yeah, it is.
Ben Brown.
So different without the big curls, I tell you.
Is it heading back to where it was, do you think?
Absolutely it is.
Shaved his head for a worthy cause and raised some valuable money for cancer. He's back in the Melbourne lineup. He might play a pivotal role with Bailey Fritsch out for 2 months. That's not a great kick from Dougal Howard, although Jack Steele somehow was able to hang on as Tom Sparrow came charging in.
Been good, the skipper. That's 27 possessions, 11 tackles. Tried hard.
He and Rowan Marshall have really tried to lead the charge for the Saints up towards Cooper Sharman. Can't take the mark. Wood with a hand pass to Jones. Back to Wood. Trying to shovel a hand pass forward to Cavanini. Salem the other way. Cleans him up. Into the middle of the back. No whistle. Melbourne take it. Rivers' hand pass looking for Salem. Charging in is Sinclair. Can't get a touch onto it. And for the moment, Anthony Caminiti is going to stay out there. But I imagine the doctor will come and check he's okay. Melbourne by 21 points.
If that's in the marking contest, that's in the back every single day of the week, isn't it? Free kick, Bully, or no?
I prefer him to go for the ball there too, to be honest.
It's in the back.
Wasn't great from Salem.
Gawn lays it down from the throw-in on the wing. Viney coming through, has it stolen. There by Steele. His handball releases Crouch. Crouch will kick inside 50. May comes across. Drops it this time. It rebounds back to him. Kicks off a step. It comes off the side of the boot and Gresham can mark. 40 metres out. 30-degree angle to the right-hand side.
Well, minutes and goals, it's still up for grabs. Again, it's just been such hard work to score after quarter time for the Saints. And that one was, again, a shank kick from Stephen May. Take his best effort late in the game here, Jade Gresham.
21 points the margin. This would just keep the door slightly ajar for the Saints. Gresham, his drop punt does keep the Saints alive. They're not done yet. A couple for Jade and Melbourne 11-7-73 lead the Saints 8-10-58. 19 and a half minutes into the final term on Grandstand AFL.
Nice little finish by Gresh, wasn't it? Late in the game, as you've mentioned. Ball does travel a little bit further with the roof closed at Marvel Stadium. I've just been thinking what the Saints need, Bally, and I've seen a lot of free kicks held off half back and a lot of players looking to just go down the line and get a contest and bring the forward ball. Bradley Hill's that one that they've had the line breaker. Give the ball to him. I know they've got Wanganeen Malera off half back, but Hill is another one. He's the one that gives him the ball and they go again, they team up. So it's that's what they miss for me.
I just want to go back to the ball goes a little further under the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does.
Because it's a bit warmer, less dense, cold air?
I think it's something to do with the air. Yep. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it does. I reckon it does anyway.
Yeah.
Going under the ruck, kicks Melbourne to half forward. Viney can't take it. Wanganeen Miller up with a hand pass to Sinclair. Hand pass to Wood. Back to Wanganeen Miller at half back. Kicks to Steele. Pulled in the one-handed mark. Over the top to Billings. Trying to find an avenue forward. Caminiti's free. He marks between wing and half forward. He's out at left half forward. Looks long inside 50. Pokes it in the direction of Owens. He's got it.
Hold the man.
Oh, wow.
Big call as
this one
Jack McVie was held out of it. And the Saints had the chance to make it a single-point ball game. Instead, it's still Melbourne by 15. As McVie kicks up towards half-back. No mark claim. Viney quickly with a hand pass away to Rivers, to Langdon. His kick is out on the full. The Saints will take it back on the wing. Still 4 minutes to go. So Melbourne have done anything but close out this game.
Boomer, I do know that my golf ball doesn't go as far in the cold weather, so I can only assume it's because it's slightly warmer under the roof.
No, just the elements to take it. Don't overthink it, mate. You know, the roof shut. The elements to take it out of it. Yeah.
Less air density. That sounds good.
Less wind resistance generally. 90 k's an hour wind outside today. Benny.
Jack Steele thumps the Saints inside 50, launching at it, unable to mark Sharman. Spills to Owens. Owens snaps. Owens.
No.
It bounced on the goal line. It bounced back into play. And everything is conspiring against the Saints. The fans around the ground can't believe it. They needed a foot more.
Just needed that extra distance under the closed roof. Brayshaw with a clearing kick. Up to the wing. Melcham can't take the mark. Wilkie's hand pass away to Crouch. Centering kick. Wanganeen Miller will take the mark. Now it's a vacant forward 50. Can he find the right option? He pokes the kick towards the top of the 50. And coming out, Filippo marks.
Smart kick. Now, first quarter, he's certainly got the umpires pulled Christian Salem back inside 50. So he's got the journey here, the young fella. Started the game really well. He's drifted out of it a bit, but what has he got left in those fourth quarter legs?
The teenage Saint from right on 50. It's out to the left. He couldn't quite get enough on it. And it hits the left behind post out of bounds on the full. So Melbourne hold a 15-point advantage, but the Saints are charging home hard with two fit players on the bench. 13-6 inside 50s. St Kilda's way in this final term.
Lever takes the kick as long as he can to a massive pack standing underneath it. A lot of it the way of gone, and he's paid the mark at right half back, and Sand slipping through the hourglass now for the Saints. Gawn will kick a high ball around the dockside wing. Howard in front, marks for the Saints. Immediately gets the ball in motion. Handball to Webster. Handball to Jones. Sinclair across half-back. Kicks out to Steele. Hits him in stride. Steele looks inside 50. Can't spot up Owens. Into the pocket it goes. And it tumbles out. A throw in right forward pocket. Here for the Saints. They trail by 15. 24 minutes gone in the fourth.
Great work rate by Jack Steele to get out and get that ball. He ran about 45 metres.
Throwing back in. Gawn wins down the tap against Marshall. Marshall's back after it. Hand pass to Steele. Can't get around Brayshaw and Hunter holding the ball. Melbourne will take it at left half back through Angus Brayshaw. And now 50 as the ball wasn't returned. Not 100% sure it was the player who threw the ball back, but it wasn't on the full, and that'll be 50.
All he had to do is bend over and pick it up at about knee level, I reckon, Brayshaw, and it wouldn't have been 50, but stood up straight. Very smart.
Cross line. It's taken the headset off. He wasn't all that impressed with that either. As Brayshaw kicks it laterally, and Hunter takes the mark just inside the boundary. Between wing and half forward. Sends Melbourne inside 50. Gawn's there at the back. Brown can't take the mark. Trying to charge on Petrarca. Winhagen's hand pass to Sinclair. To Dougal-Howard. Up towards half-back. Salem dropped the mark. It spills off his chest. And wide of Hunter and out of play. A boundary throw in between wing and half forward for the Demons. They lead by 15 points. Crowd posted at 30,749. So a little bit underwhelming for a Saturday night.
Umpire brings it in. Slapping it down there is Marshall. Straight onto it, Brayshaw. Now picking it up, Hunter. Handball to Viney. Snaps to D's forward of the wing. Bouncing ball. Straight onto it though, Windhager. Bursts away from his opponent. Kicks the Saints forward of the wing. And the mark taken by Crouch. He's pretty content to push back off the mark. Now bites off the kick into the middle. Wangani Malera. Pickett comes across. Pickett knocks it down. It spills to Neil Bullen. And a high kick forward of the wing for the D's.
Dropping the mark was Ben Brown, but they have reinforcements onto it. Jordan looks inside 50. Melcham's pushed forward. He'll take the mark. 45 metres out. Out to the right. Petrarca wants it. He honours the lead.
Cossey's on too. Can they get it to him?
Petrarca looks at him. No, thank you.
That sort of night for Cossey. It's been a pretty ordinary night, really, isn't it? It's the 4 possessions, but
that's what happens, though,
doesn't it?
Well, you think you're out. You're out. You're on your own, and the guy wants to go back and slot it from 45 on his own. Just kick it to me. Give me something. Just need an easy one tonight.
So Christian Petrarca having been thrown forward tonight with 3 goals already, 2 of which came in the third quarter. Looking to put the finishing touches on a Melbourne win. Out to the right, Petrarca sets flight. A beautiful kick. And Melbourne fans are standing and celebrating. 4 goals to their number 5. And the Demons finally break the Saints' hearts and their fight. 21-point leaders, 12-7-79 to the Saints, 8-10-58.
They kicked 4 points last week. He kicks 4 goals this week. So sometimes it's as simple as that, isn't it, Boom? There's a difference. And they're going to win by 4 goals. I mean, they're going to fall in, really. We'll talk about it after the game. It hasn't been that impressive, the Demons, given what we've spoken about with the Saints. 3 down, really, or 2 down on the bench. I just feel like it's been pretty scrappy from a Demons point of view. You wouldn't say that they've confidently addressed their scoring issues. They're going to end up kicking probably 12 goals, but it's been really, really hard work against, again, a team that's undermanned. So, I mean, they get the 4 points ultimately. In July, that's all that matters, doesn't it? But they're only going to fall in.
Gawn hacks it off the deck on the bounce out towards the city wing. Wangani Malera tracking after it for the Saints. He has a fresh airy. Picking it up, Hunter gets a handball out. Sparrow close to the boundary line. He carries it out. And the umpire says deliberate.
Just before the siren goes, Joel Smith's on the ground. I didn't know if he just snuck on then or he's been on for 5 or 6 minutes, but I've missed it.
2 seasons moving in different directions. The D's secure their place in the 4. St Kilda slip out.
It's a grand old flag. It's a high-flying flag. It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love. The team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue. Sing this song to you. Should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
So Melbourne win by 21 points. As Luke Ball mentioned, Christian Petrarca last week 4 behinds. This week 4 goals. And virtually Melbourne win by that same margin. Jake Melksham with a couple, Tom Sparrow with a couple, singles to Ben Brown, Ed Langdon and Lockie Hunter. For the first time in 5 weeks, Melbourne are able to kick more goals than behinds and more than 8 goals for the first time in that period.
It's a high-flying flag. It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love. The team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue. And we sing this song to you. Should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
Melbourne winners by 21 points. They're a game clear in 4th position. In a game that certainly won't highlight their absolute strengths, but it will give them what they need, which is a bit of breathing space from the chasing pack. The thoughts of Brent Harvey and Luke Paul with you on ABC Sport.
Well, I thought they were brave, the Saints. And for the listeners who might have just tuned in after quarter time, they were 2 down very early in the piece with Max King and Ross going down. So the rotations weren't there for them. We knew halfway through that third quarter they were going to blow up, and they hung in there. I thought they were brave. I would have liked to see their ball movement just go to another level when they needed to win that game. We had a lot of tired players just pointing down the line. When they went inside forward 50, Bully, and we mentioned it a couple of times, they dropped those eyes, and Sinclair had one late. There was another one that dropped the eyes in. They had a few, when Max King goes down, they've got a few mediums in Owens, Philippou, those type of players who, Mason Wood went down there a little bit as well. If they hit up at the ball, you can come at the ball carrier. You've got to make the Melbourne defenders defend. And we'll talk about Stephen May, no doubt, a little bit more as well. But he's had 12 marks. I reckon 8 or 9 of them would have been intercept marks. He was nearly the best player on ground, on par with Christian Petrarca for me. So you mentioned it. Melbourne weren't fantastic. I didn't think they were amazing. They had played a better team tonight. Whether they got over the line, I'm not too sure. Clayton Oliver makes a huge difference to this team, and it'll be interesting. I want to get your guys' thoughts on Grundy and Gawn. Just how's it going? I didn't really sense, and I don't know the possession-wise. I haven't even looked at Gawn, but he hasn't had a huge game again. Grundy's had thereabouts. It's interesting to see if that's working and whether they'll explore with that a little bit more leading into the finals. Well,
Marshall was clearly the best big man on the ground. Yeah,
he was
clearly,
good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I thought he beat both of them individually, and then you could argue that across the night he was he dominated that ruck position. Now, from a clearance point of view, Grundy's effort was good. He laid a lot of tackles, so that side of it was good, and he continues to build. But that's still a question mark, isn't it, Boom? Whether they can coexist, how they share that ruck role.
Yeah.
Neither of them hit the scoreboard today, so you really need at least one of them to be getting forward and kicking at least 1 or 2 goals.
Was it early in the year? I'm not sure if it was a pracky game earlier in the year or maybe round 1 or 2 where they kicked 6 between them. And I think we've probably come to expect that a little bit.
A practice game,
Pracky game, was it? Yeah, the first one that they played together maybe, and they kicked 6 between them, and everyone thought, well, this experiment's going to work. One will play forward while the other one's in ruck, and we haven't really seen that. And tonight, you're right, but they didn't hit the scoreboard, so...
It does seem like Christian Petrarca is going to be the one, really. If they can get... I mean, Melksham did a roll tonight. I thought he was pretty good. He ended up kicking 2 goals, had 4 shots at goal. Ben Brown still, probably looks a little bit short of a gallop. He had a few chances, kicked 1 goal too. It feels like Petrarca's obviously the class who can kick 3, 4, 5 in a final, in a big game.
Yep.
The others, the jury's still out. We know that they've tried a handful of others as well who are back down playing VFL. So, obviously they need Oliver back in the middle, and that allows them to stick with that Petrarca forward.
Especially Sparrow's playing a
Sparrow,
role for
Jordan,
him as well.
and Brayshaw's gone into the middle a bit more, hasn't he? I was really surprised they didn't put Picken into the middle at times tonight. They just let him sort of playing that high half forward role as Christian Salem gets clapped off the ground for his 150. Really strong game. He's been a really good servant, probably an underrated sort of player, isn't he, Christian Salem? Really important in that premiership run that they've had, and back in the team now and starting to get back into some good form. Viney just a warrior as always, works his backside off. I thought it was a great contest inside tonight. Probably just shaded by Jack Steele, if you want to talk about like for like in there. But it was a Melbourne style win in the end, in the sense that they dominated from the back half after quarter time. I mean, St Kilda left a few out there in that first quarter, didn't they? Which you can't do against this Melbourne team.
Yeah.
When you get Gildee's opportunities, you've got to take them against this Melbourne team. And I thought they were under pressure early, but then after quarter time, they got it back on track.
Let's join the Demons with Lauren Borden.
No flag, it's a high flag. It's the emblem for me and for you. Woo! It's the emblem of sing it up, sing up, the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue. As we sing a song to you, for exceptional all. We're going to speak, we're going to keep your eye on the red and the blue. Woo!
Pretty quiet rooms down here, actually. Usually it's packed with family and friends, but they were a bit late coming in, so it's pretty quiet when the Melbourne players came in. Tartor and getting sprayed with all the sports drink, but then joining the circle later on. So we'll try and get a player to chat to and discuss the win in a minute.
All right, Loz, just give us a yell when you're good to go and we'll come straight back down to you. Melbourne winners by 21 points. We're interested when you guys do the votes for the ABC Football of the Year. Christian Petrarca booted the 4 goals, and yet it felt like Stephen May was the most damaging and influential player on the ground. And had it not been for him, that was both the biggest challenge for the Saints in trying to find the right option inside 50 and the springboard for so much of Melbourne of what they're able to create.
Well, there's only one we've got to discuss, because them two are both in the boats, aren't they?
Yeah, so. I think so though, Clint. I mean, you can argue the most important moment of the game was in the first 90 seconds when Max King and Stephen May went for that first contest, and we didn't see Max, unfortunately, for the rest of the night, and that meant that Stephen King's mindset when he's playing on a Caminiti or a Sharman or a less experienced, potentially less dangerous player is completely different, isn't it? I mean, we know he backs himself against any opposition, but Max King being out there, you would have felt like he would have had his hands full a bit more.
Well, what he does, what King does, Bully, is demands the football. He actually gets it out in the lead. He's so quick off the mark. He gets it out in the lead, so May would have had to be able to defend. But when the ball's in the air, he's so big and tall with a great leap. May would have been, he's a foot smaller than him, so he would have had his work cut out on King tonight, especially if they got they got a lot of inside 50s early, didn't they, the Saints? So,
they did.
He would have
had 18 in the first quarter.
He would have had his work cut out, Stephen May, but unfortunately for the Saints, he wasn't out there. I still think, I look at the stats, and Wangani Malera is at 33 and Sinclair at 33, who are both running and dashing players. Add Bradley Hill to that, it just makes a huge difference. If he had about 20 touches and kicks the ball so well, maybe 8 inside 50s, the game could have looked a lot different tonight. But you can only play against who's out there, and unfortunately for the Saints, he wasn't there.
It's interesting. You talk about those two players, and Melbourne get the win. So again, in July, you got to bank the wins. You just got to do enough and continually try and work on and improve your game heading into the back sort of six or so weeks of the season and into finals. But that sort of players, what they're lacking, and everyone talks about, we know that their scoring struggles are there for everyone to see, and everyone links that to how they move the ball. Really, they move the ball in that sort of way because that suits their personnel at the moment. They don't have a dashing half-back player who, you look at, you contrast tonight's game with the game last night, for instance, with Collingwood and the Bulldogs, and the way that at the best they move the footy out of the back half. They don't have, when you look at their back six, it is May, it's Lever, it's Petty, even Rivers, solid. Salem, okay, but he's more of an architect, isn't he? He's not a run and carry.
Not a line breaker.
And Bowie more that lockdown. So they don't have those sort of players. McVee's building towards it. But they don't have those sort of players to be able to play that style of game.
Most teams have that one half back now that says, you know what, you're attacking. And we've seen Wangani Malera do it tonight from a centre bounce. He went, Neil Bullen sat back and got an easy handball forward and kicked the ball into one of the forwards. Can't remember who it was now, but they scored a goal because he was being so attacking. Every team's got one. You're right, Melbourne hasn't really got that one that does that.
So there's an element of personnel to it, and that's the other. And it's clear they won them the premiership. They attack in a way that supports their defence.
Yeah.
And, the way footy's played these days, those the attack and the defence really work hand in hand. The teams
defend with the ball as well.
Well, exactly. Teams and coaches talk about attacking in a way that supports your defence, and vice versa. Defend in a way that's going to help you springboard the attack, because we know that scoring from transition is the main source of scoring these days in footy. So Melbourne at the moment, you just look, to me, they look a fair way off. On the last month, they look a fair way off Collingwood and Port Adelaide, in my opinion, and Brisbane.
I'd say what they do well, and that's they let the opposition forwards get sucked up into the junk, and May and Lever are the kings at it, but the rest of them are doing it as well and saying, right, you can go up there and you can get the ball 70 or 80 out, but if they don't lower their eyes and kick it to you, it's coming straight back out because we're marking it and we're switching play and we're going back out the other way.
It's interesting though, Bawley, you say about they look like they're a bit off the top three, if you were to say it that way. They did beat Collingwood last time out.
I was about to say that.
They don't have the straw that stirs the drink in Clayton Oliver. He's their main man.
Yeah, I guess clarify that. What they do they make you beat them. Like so you get the sense that this is the way they're going to win it now. They're not going to blow a team off the park, but they are going to make you beat them. And by the way you move the ball, and we did that Collingwood game, and they defended the corridor really well. So what we saw last night with Collingwood's slingshot attack and through the corridor and their ability to go from defence to offence and score really quickly, they took that away from them, which they do at their best. So they still are going to be hard to beat. It's just a real grind for them in terms of scoring big scores.
Let's head back down to the Melbourne rooms with Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy. I've got Jake Lever here with me in the Melbourne rooms. Congratulations on the win. It really seems like there was a lot of weight on this game to get your season back on track a little bit. What did Simon Goodwin have to say when you just came out of the meeting?
Oh, look, I think that you've got to respect the way St Kilda play. They make you beat them. The way that they defend is probably one of the best in the league. So we knew that it was going to be a bit of an arm wrestle, but the whole week we just spoke about the process. I know there would have been a lot of spoken about our conversion and our stuff inside 50, but we really wanted to focus on the core of our game, and we knew that if we got that right, that the other stuff would just flow on the end of it. So I was really happy with the way the boys played tonight, and it was great to get a win in the arm wrestle.
You were able to get that 12-7 today. It's more than the 8 goals that you've been scoring in recent matches. Were you happy with that effort?
Oh, absolutely. I think that when you kick more goals and points, it's always better. But the boys have been working hard, and I think that the most important thing for those guys up forward and even through the midfield, the goal kicking, it's not to overthink it, because I think sometimes the more you think about it, the worse it gets. And we had a real focus on just focusing on what the core of our game is, and that's our contest and defence. We knew the other stuff would just flow off the end of it.
It might not be your specialty, goal kicking, but it was a big focus this week. Mark Williams tends to lead that. Can you give us an insight on what he was putting you guys through? It's always something interesting.
Oh, look, to be honest, it's nothing different Choco did this week. I think it was just more about the work that he does is like phenomenal, and the boys that do the goal kicking, it is quite particular in what they work on, and it hasn't really wavered from week to week. So we knew that it was going to turn around, and tonight, we got a good result. But I think it's really, really important that, for instance, if that was 7 goals, 12, and we had to win that way, we wouldn't care. We just want to be able to get those 4 points and understand that it will turn eventually.
Let's head upstairs now to some more questions from Boomer Harvey and Luke Ball.
Oh, Jake, well done. The heat was on early, wasn't it? The Saints were certainly on, and 18 inside 50s in that first quarter. So as a back six, you really had to withstand some heat early.
Oh, absolutely. Give credit where credit's due. Their pressure in the first quarter was phenomenal. Every time that we got the ball, we were probably contributing to a little bit of that by feeding backwards, and we'd give them sort of 20, 30 metres and then finally try and kick it, and our forwards were out of position. So we were contributing to that, but we understood that they're going to get a bit of momentum, and us as the back 6, 7, we understand that at our time that we have to stand up, and I think that we've done that pretty well all year. And tonight it was a big fella's turn. Stephen May just absolutely dominated down there. He was just commanding in the air, and when he plays like that, he's a hard man to play on.
He is. I thought a couple of the younger guys that got you going, or they're probably not younger now, starting to get some games under the belt. Tom Sparrow and James Jordan tonight. Obviously, Clayton Oliver, extremely, if not impossible to replace. But those guys are getting opportunity in the centre bounce now, and I thought they were good tonight. Oh,
absolutely. I think that they knew that when their time was going to come, they were going to be ready, and I think Track played a little bit more forward tonight as well, so that would have helped their rotation in there. But we know that, especially Tom, he's played a lot of games now in his first 3 or 4 years. We understand that what type of quality player that he is, and James, he's probably been a little bit unlucky, but he understands what position he's in, and when he comes in, he has to take his opportunity. I thought tonight that the way that he plays, that's a sort of a benchmark for him, because he was dynamic, he took the ball forward, and that's what we want out of him.
You mentioned Track forward, and he gets his 4 goals tonight, which ultimately is the difference. I mean, you see the game better than anyone down back, Jake. Assuming we get Clayton back fit and healthy in the next few weeks, what in your opinion, what's the best balance with Christian in the middle and forward as you head into a September campaign?
I'll tell you what, I played on him at training the other day in our contest stuff, and I knew he was going to be dangerous up there. He's over with the midfielders doing the contest stuff, but he come with the key defenders and the key forwards, and he's just so strong. He's a hard matchup, and you look around the league, there's probably not too many defenders that can go with him in the air and then on the ground. So it's a real balance, and I think that as long as he's impacting when he comes into the midfield as well, I think that that's really important, that he understands that when he comes in, he's going to impact, and then when he's forward, he's so dynamic and he's hard to play on. So I'm glad I was standing up the other end tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, congratulations, Jake. We were just talking up here earlier about Gawn and Grundy, the best mix for them. Is it to play one forward, or is to come off the interchange bench? We know Maxi's had a stellar career, but he hasn't been in an amazing form. I guess internally, you guys would probably see him as still playing unbelievable footy. But what's the best mix for Gawn and Grundy at the minute?
Oh, look, I think it's probably week to week, to be totally honest. I think that you probably look at their numbers as a duo, I would think, because, as you said, if Brodie, when Brodie got the opportunity to ruck one out when Max was injured, you could see the impact that he can have. But when Gorney goes forward, and even Brodie now, when they go forward, they attract so many defenders. And even when opposition ruckmen come down to your forward line in our defensive 50, you understand they're big units, and in the air they sort of attract 2 or 3 blokes. So for us, we understand that at times Maxi's going to mark it and kick goals. At times he's just going to bring the ball to ground and sort of be that annoyance in that forward 50 for opposition defenders and not let them mark it, because you can kind of see how dangerous intercept marking is in the game today. It's sort of slingshots attack from all teams, not just us or the top teams like Collingwood and Port Adelaide. I think that every team wants to do that. So for us, we sort of look at their numbers as a duo, and I thought tonight they're it's hard for Rowan Marshall to ruck one out against 2 All-Australian. I don't know how many they've got between us. Would it be 10 yet? Maybe 9 or 10 between them. So it's pretty impressive. So we're happy to week just understand what they're going to do and sort of take them as a duo. And I thought they were phenomenal tonight.
Jake, Ben Cameron here. We saw Taj Woden for the very first time at AFL level. His dad works with us at Grandstand AFL here on the ABC. But who do you know him to be as a teammate?
I think he's someone that has worked so hard on his game. So to get the opportunity was absolutely phenomenal. He's a bit of a cheeky bugger, that's for sure. He's one of those guys that he comes in there. They're a bit different, the young fellas these days. Yeah. They've got a lot of swagger about them, and it's great because the football environment now. I'm sure, Boomer, probably when you played, that it was sort of a bit of a hierarchy. It's sort of the senior players get to, control what they do, get an hour and a half massage, and the young boys don't get any. It's sort of a bit different these days. They come in and they're sort of, there's no hierarchy. It's all an even playing field. And I think that allows those guys to flourish because, Taj, to his credit, first year, he knew that he was just going to play VFL. If the opportunity came, he was ready, but to be able to work so hard this year in the off-season with Judd McVie, who you've seen come in and absolutely dominate. They did a lot of pre-season together with Jacob Van Rooyen in the off-season in Perth. Yeah. So to see them, all 3 of them play a significant role this year in the footy club, I think it just shows that, he's got some confidence. And I thought tonight, like his composure with the ball for a guy that, has played 1 game, it was quite phenomenal in a high-pressure game.
Yeah, I think old Woden was taking them through that training over there in Perth. Last one from me. I'm fascinated by Judd McVie's name. A West Australian, born 19 years ago. 19 years ago, Chris Judd wins the Brownlow medal. Have you had any confirmation? Is he named after Chris Judd?
Yeah, he is named after Chris Judd. That's true. So that's where the name came from. So he's pretty happy with himself too. We do call him Chris every now and then, but he's known as Knuckle McVie. So if you call him the game next time he gets the ball, call him Knuckle McVie.
I reckon we can do that for you, Jake.
Bit risky though.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at Knuckle, I reckon.
So as we let you go, Jake, you're inside the top 4 by a game. You've got the Brisbane Lions next Friday night at the MCG. Where do you feel like the key improvements have to come apart from kicking in front of goal?
Oh, look, I think it's just a continuation. We understand that we're getting to the pointy end of the year and we have to keep winning games, and Brisbane Lions are one of the, I think they're third. They're above us. So 3rd v 4th. We're looking forward to the challenge. They beat us at our home deck last time at the MCG in that final, and they got on top of us at the Gabba before the lights went out, and then for some reason we decided to come and play football after that. So we're looking forward to the challenge. We understand that they've had our measure the last 2 times, but we're going to go really after the game and understand that when you play Brisbane, it's a contest game, and they've got some good contest players, so we're looking forward to it.
Good on you, Jake. Always great to catch up. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much, guys.
Jake Lever joining us on ABC Sport. I love getting his insights. As you said, Bully, he does read the game especially well. He and Stephen May are such a great combination. And the next 2 weeks, Boomer, for Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide. Crows will be interesting on Sunday against the Bombers, and Richmond the week to come.
Yeah,
so
big 3 weeks.
Sort of feels like it's an interesting little period to experiment without Bailey Fritsch, and Christian Petrarca was the answer tonight. It'll be interesting to see against the better sides whether that stacks up.
Well, and whether you can afford, how long you can afford to have Christian out of the centre bounce against a Brisbane or an Adelaide, or even a Richmond.
Because that's the thing in the ball. We spoke about Jordan tonight, 23 touches. Sparrow had 22 touches and kicked 2 goals. Now, if they can play their part against those bigger body players, Dunkley and these type of players, it's going to be interesting because then Petrarca can slide forward. But if they're not getting the job done, you know what they're going to do, don't you? They're going to grab Petrarca from here and going to bring him straight back into the guts. So.
He started 4 tonight. I think he has to. I think it's a 80, 75, 25 split over the next month or longer if it's working until Fritsch is out, and hopefully the cavalry, when I say the cavalry, Clayton Oliver comes back. He's the main one, isn't he? And they continue to try and refine that ruck advantage on paper. It's not really playing out at the moment, is it? But you heard Jake Lever talk then. They see it as very much a team mentality. Both Grundy and Gawn have sacrificed some of their own game, which is fantastic. We know that Max was very clear about doing that when he first came over. So, and again, you heard it loud and clear that okay, they kicked a few more goals today, but the 4 points is all that matters. Their core is their defence and contest, and it's hard to argue that when the game closes in September, that usually holds you in pretty good stead. Having said that, I think the other sides up the top of the ladder at the moment are doing that and are showing their top four in scoring offence as well, showing their ability to be able to put put bursts of footy on. I saw it with Collingwood last night. That third quarter was electric, hard to stop.
Well, we mentioned that Melbourne haven't been at their super best, and there's a reason. Oliver's out, Fritsch is out tonight, so they're still I still think they're trying to find their best forward line balance as well. Is Ben Brown in their best team? What does it look like? Van Ruin's out of the team at the minute, so does he come back in? I think they're still exploring a little bit with that forward line structure, but we'll find out so much more about the Melbourne Football Club in the next 2 weeks. Brisbane at Brisbane?
No, Brisbane in Melbourne.
Brisbane in Melbourne.
So there's a couple of interesting narratives to that. Brisbane have struggled at the MCG apart from that final, and Melbourne have, having lost to Brisbane at the Gabba, as the lights went out, it sounded like Jake Lever had it pretty vividly in his mind the way it ended, and the Demons finished with a bit of a flutter, but Brisbane dominated that night.
And then Adelaide, I'm tipping.
Yeah, it must be in Adelaide.
I think if they're at the G next week, they're going to be in Adelaide the following week.
No, they're both at the MCG.
Are they?
Yeah.
Gee
So how does that work?
People get some good draws, don't
Melbourne
they?
have got their next three at the G.
Yeah,
have they?
But against three, and then
4,
Richmond.
5.
Brisbane, Adelaide,
Richmond.
Well, they've got three really big tests. Adelaide are a really good team at the minute. They are flying. Are they a better team at Adelaide Oval? Maybe. But they're a finals contender for me, Adelaide. I think they're playing some great football. We know what Brisbane can serve up when they're good. He's really good. Can they play at the MCG? Well, we'll find out. But the next couple of weeks, I reckon we'll find out a little bit more about Melbourne as well.
So 5 of their 7 Melbourne are at the MCG to close. Brisbane, Adelaide, Richmond, and they travel down to Tassie to take on Boomers, Kangaroos, Carlton at the G, Hawthorn at the G, and Sydney at the SCG to close out the home and away season. The votes for the ABC Football of the Year.
I'll
the job, Paulie?
But the team votes, I think we've
pretty
settled
easy
on
for the
there.
top
We've settled
two,
on
I think,
together.
wasn't it?
Well, we're going to give one to Rowan Marshall. I just thought he was, given the challenge that he faced tonight, and again, we know that, it's a team effort at Melbourne, but I just thought Marshall, and he just keeps getting better and better. He's had a sneaky year. I heard, he's very much in. They're probably going to need to win a few more games, but he's in the mix for all Australian, certainly squad, if not team. Rowan Marshall, 30 possessions,
30 touches for a ruckman,
and 15, 15 hit outs.
It's huge, isn't it?
Wouldn't be a surprise, Bully, if you heard BJ scoffing at me when I suggested the top 2 rucks in the competition with Tim English and Sean Darcy. Oh, what about Rowan?
Yeah. Well, Rowan and English are a similar type of ruckman. Darcy's little bit different. Darcy's going to get. Takes him 3 weeks to get 30 possessions, doesn't it? Sean Darcy, but he's very, very effective, obviously in his own way. But he's having a terrific year, and well done to him tonight. He took on the challenge, and I thought he was clearly the best big man on the ground. 2 to Petrarca. His 4 goals were the difference. 2 in that third quarter when the game was there to be won, and 3 to Stephen May. 12 marks. 8 of those were intercepts, and 29 possessions. He got a little bit of luck, obviously, with his number 1 opponent going down in that first minute of the game. Who would have thought that? I reckon if you had asked St Kilda supporters coming along tonight, even the coaching staff, you're going to lose one player in the first minute of the game. Who don't you want it to be?
It's every day of the
Probably
week.
Rowan Marshall or Max King. We'll wait to hear. Hopefully, we'll wait to hear obviously how he is. Hopefully, it's not too bad, but didn't look like much, did it? And he went straight for that shoulder, that left shoulder.
Yeah, it was immediately hanging, and
a sling.
Even if it's popped out, they normally.
He didn't look too much pain, did he? It was just awkward. So How many games has he played since he's been back?
Oh,
It just seems so innocuous for it to happen. Yeah,
Game 7. Missed till round 10. So Stephen May gets the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. He had 13 intercept possessions alongside his 29 disposals and 8 contested possessions. 2 to Christian Petrarca, a equal career best. 4 goals for him after his 4 behinds, which Bally so beautifully summed up from last week against GWS. And 1 to Rowan Marshall in the ABC Footballer of the Year. The other game has just ticked past full time. It's ended up being a pretty good result for Port Adelaide as their streak continues. 16-10, 106 to the Gold Coast Suns, 11-7, 73. So the
13,
Suns...
is it? Oh, yeah, the Suns, sorry. Is that 13 for the Port?
Yep.
The Bakers doesn't?
Yep, 13 on the trot.
Amazing.
It's an incredible run from the start of the season when Ken Hinkley was under the pump after the showdown loss, but it's equally as challenging for Stuart Dew, having started so well. The narrative around his coaching tenure, the questions around the list development and whether he's getting the maximum out of the group, all of a sudden that's not exactly the loss, even though it's sort of 5 goals, 33 points.
They were a goal up at half time. They've conceded 9 in the third quarter. So that's the challenge for them. They don't seem to have the ability to stop other teams. We saw it against Carlton a few weeks ago. They kicked 10, I think it was, in that second quarter. They just don't have the ability to stop that, to stop momentum, big momentum runs against them. Yeah, I mean, but it looks like they fought on. A 5-goal loss to the hottest team in the comp isn't a bad effort, but that third quarter.
I'll tell you what's equally as not very good, Clinchy.
Yep.
Kangas have got their first draft pick. Looks like it's going to be 17 or 18 at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think the best you might be able to hope for is sort of 16.
Yeah. Go out and straight sets and finals and get 14 maybe.
Lose a prelim or something. But
there's 2 or 3 Gold Coast Academy boys that'll be in the top 15 too, won't they? So they'll get bid on, so they might get pushed back.
The Allies might win the carnival, which is incredible.
Sounds like they're going to, yeah.
Which is just
great. It's good for the game.
Great
really
for the
good
game around the country.
Yeah.
So 13 in a row for Port Adelaide. All of a sudden they are putting up some sort of showing, and they're keeping right on the heels of Collingwood, and the 2 face each other in a couple of weeks' time.
We've got Carlton here next week, Port.
Yes, Port Adelaide against the Blues at Docklands, and then Collingwood at the Adelaide Oval ahead of another showdown.
So, Bally, do you put Melbourne in the top echelon of Collingwood, Port Adelaide, obviously, and probably the other teams, Brisbane?
Yeah.
Do you put Melbourne right up there with them 3, or are they the 3 clear leaders at the minute?
Not at the moment. Yeah, no, I've got them on the rung below. Again, you still got to beat them, and we saw them, frustrate and do a really good job against Collingwood a few weeks ago, King's birthday. But I just think that those top 3 teams are defending, but they're also showing that power, that ability to burst and kick multiple goals in a row and have multiple options forward of the ball. And that's why I've got them slightly ahead. But we know, finals footy, game closes down a bit, anything can happen. So you just got to qualify, don't you? And that tonight gives them a bit of breathing. But massive 3 weeks. If they go 2-1 the next 3 weeks, they probably finish top 4, don't they?
Oh, you finish top 4, you're a big chance.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying there was no games at the MCG this week?
Thursday night was at the G,
and then
Richmond and Sydney, and
I think
that's it.
Generally in July, I think,
weather
avoid nighttime games.
Clear out the Yarra Park.
The G.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, back here tomorrow. That's a massive game tomorrow too.
Thought we might have another concert there or something. Taylor Swift, she's coming soon, isn't she?
She certainly is. Not until Feb, I think. Who are you tipping out of the Bombers and the Crows?
I think I like the Crows. I think the Crows are
Sleeping Giants.
4th, 5th, 6th best team in it at the moment. Yep.
Cameron Ling said today on the lead he feels like they and Geelong might be the 2 best challengers in the bottom half of the
Agree with that. Yeah, I haven't given up on the catch yet. Agree with that.
They're a good team, Adelaide. They've got a really good mix now. Their forward line is super potent. Like, you add Rankin to that.
Yeah.
Tex Walker is on absolute fire, and it's great to see. Foggy's the best set shot kick for goal in the competition. They've got a really good mix through the middle.
They kick it well too.
They do.
Yeah,
they use the ball.
Yeah.
The Kangas played against them last week, and they said they spread so hard.
Yep.
They work super hard. So probably one of the fittest teams in the competition. If you're going to pick a weakness in their team, you'd probably say their backs. And they've got a lot of no-name. And when I say no-names, very respectfully, they've got a lot of no-names in the back line. Gee, they're getting the job done.
Yeah, Burry.
I tell you what,
Murray, Butts.
They won't be no-name for very long.
Hinge,
I can give you the tip on that.
Because Doty's out for the year, isn't it? So
Tom Doty's out for the year. He's probably their one only injury they're suffering from. But, geez, Andrea's going to be up and about back in the studio hearing that about the Crows. And the Thunderbirds had a good win tonight in the netball grand final. It went to extra time. They prevailed by 1 goal, 60-59 over the New South Wales Swifts. And a big day in the Harvey household tomorrow. Cooper Harvey making his debut.
Massive.
Son of Boomer. Down the Cattery you go.
Cooper's dad.
You said to us on the lead you had 26 family and friends coming along. Have you picked a few extra tickets along the way?
The 26 is just immediate family, Clinchy. That's our family. My brother's got 5 in his family. My sister's got 5 in her family. My wife's brother's got 5 in his family. So
they add up pretty quickly.
26 in immediate family. And we're lucky enough, Cooper's obviously got some friends coming down for a drive as well. So he had a few. So, yeah, closer to 50 than 26. But
closer to 50 than 26.
It's a big moment. It's a huge moment.
That's outstanding.
What's he doing tonight?
He'll be home.
Pasta?
Getting his preparation. Mum would have cooked him pasta. He'll be sitting on the couch watching probably the game we just commentated on and hopefully listening to us as well.
Yeah, what's his go-to pasta? Stag bowl?
Yeah, he's pretty simple. He's pretty relaxed, so there wouldn't have been nothing over the top.
He's definitely not going to be sub, is he? I mean,
no, he won't be. No, he won't.
I'm glad you asked that question.
No, he won't be the sub.
Yeah. That's fantastic, mate. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, enjoy the day.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you, Boomer. Lovely to have your company again on a Saturday night. Good luck to you and the family in Cooper tomorrow.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be listening to the team down in Geelong. Coverage of that game against North Melbourne available on the ABC Listen app. Thank you, Paulie.
Thanks, Coachy.
Thanks to Lauren Borton. Thanks to Ben Cameron. Don't forget Grandstand AFL Sunday tomorrow with Corbin Middlemass, Mark Murphy and Chad Wingard from midday Eastern time. So looking forward to bringing you that. And, of course, coverage of the cricket. You've missed nothing. It's rained so far this morning in the UK. So Australia to resume at 4 for 116 on day 3. If you're listening to us on ABC Sport Digital and via the ABC Listen app, as well as local radio in the regional areas, except for Tasmania, you're off to Headingley for the coverage with Jim Maxwell and our TMS team. Jim's been answering questions during the rain delay. I'm sure that's exactly where he wants to be. For everyone else, it's back to normal programming. Don't forget the footy continues tomorrow with round 17 of the AFL action. We'll be back here at Docklands for the Bombers taking on Adelaide and Fremantle and Carlton in the final game of round 17. The Blues have a bit of their mojo back. Can they upset the Dockers at home? Here at Docklands, it was Melbourne winners by 21 points over the Saints. And Stephen May getting the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Thanks for your company on ABC